Testing one, two, three. My check. My check one, two, three. My check one, two, three. My check one, two, three.
Tes 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 tes. Mic one, check one, two, two. Check, hey, 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 hey.
Dear colleagues online, it seems like there is a bit of a technical extended problem, so we will start in another 5 minutes. But meanwhile, maybe it's a good chance to say hello to each other. So for those which are online and don't have an opportunity to have a good cup of tea together. So I hope that everybody is well. And this is greeting from Bangkok, from Switch Asia team. How are you all? Hi, Mohammed. Good. I can see you heard that. So how is the weather now in Malaysia? Natasha, good to see you. It was a while. How are you? Good morning, colleagues. Good morning. So it seems like arrival to the room is a little bit delaying us also, so apologies for that, but it's a little beyond our control. Sorry about that. Hello, Shishalini. Yes, can see you. Greeting. We are for sure connecting today from 3 countries, from Thailand, from Philippines. Lorraine is connecting from Philippines, and of course from multiple places in Malaysia. It's a really Southeast Asian gathering.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Firstly, my apologies to those who are online waiting very patiently. We are going to start in a minute or so. Can you all settle down? Thank you very much for coming. Just give us a minute or so just for those who are in the coffee room and the others just come. Minute or two, please. So no charge where you sit. Come to the front. No. I think it's a good idea. I think we had more than 60, over 70 people registered to be in person. So I think they're more online. Yes. I think I like see the bill, see the faces of response. So sometimes I'm online, I listen, but I also do other things that I don't know what. Good morning, selamat pagi. My name is Thomas. My full name is Thomas. It's not a mistake. It's really like that. Because I'm from Singapore. Because in our part of the world, we want to emphasize, we don't say barang. I'm Thomas. The people ask me what's the story behind the name. I said that when I was young, I had told twice before I do. Sit, eat. So it's for Thomas. The real story is actually my ancestors come from a place where not really, they just named their son after their grandfather. My father and grandfather had the same name, so I have the same name. So I'm glad to be your host today. And so I want to wish you all a very good morning. And also welcome those online. And my apologies to make you wait longer than needed. So first and foremost, for those here, not everybody registered has come here. So David has a suggestion next time it's free, but don't come, you pay us. For those of you here, I think have a nice time. I think you know the journey room on my left has coffee, and later we'll have a coffee break there as well. And should be on the same floor, but the surau is on the 7th floor. If you need the restroom, it's out behind the blue wall. For those online, the slide, please. These are some housekeeping announcements. We have online, so for online participants, please keep your microphones muted. And don't worry about taking down notes, because we recording this will be available for if you have questions, please put it in the chat. You know why my name like that. If you have to speak, please raise your hands. Okay. And if you got long questions, send to Lorraine. This is Lorraine at Switch Asia. The other thing is to say after this introduction, I will be making my opening remarks. And after that, there will be the team leader of Switch Asia, Dr. Zinaida Fila, will also speak. Mr. Gill is not able to join us, so we will go on to a presentations from Dr. Jai Prakash from the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, as well as Ms. Arina who is from the Ministry of Investment Trade Industry. And they will give us a perspective on plans for Malaysian government. And then we will have this change program. So we will have Rainy will give us a whole question outline of what is political economy concepts and things. And before we have panel discussion, we will have a coffee break. And after the coffee break, video things. And then we'll have first panel and where we get experience sharing of business circularity as well as the finally final session on advancing circularity and some conclusions. And we'll have lunch, and lunch is on the same restaurant. This is Asia and our backpackers. If you're interested. Now let me do the program that supposed to give you some welcome address. First, I want to thank you all for coming first. Thank you very much. We have some people here that registered. I think people come in. In many countries, we make the traffic on weather. So we also have about 50 people online. So I want to welcome all who have contributed to this. There is a whole team making this possible in Bangkok and Lorraine, who is part of the ASEAN effort. So I want to thank the team in Bangkok, Manila. So after my remarks, you will hear Dr. Zinaida, who is based in Bangkok. And I will start off by emphasizing something that we all know, that the world is in a big crisis. Crisis of governance, where trust is deficit. We have come to a level that you pass around the world. You just whenever traditionally, when go right, God blesses us. When things doesn't go right, we see the government is government. I come from Singapore. There's a decision. Government without other. But if we are great deficit that we trust in whether it's governments, whether it's institutions, whether even institutions are all facing this trust difference. Then we also find in society social problems. We have these huge tensions in society. Just look at the reaction from ZenX from Indonesia, Philippines, Nepal, and the anti-immigrants sentiments around the world, or even the widening income gaps. And whenever there's income gaps, there's tensions. We also have this whole environmental crisis, where we talk about the triple planetary crisis of climate change, loss of nature and diversity, pollution, we also. But in this thing, we're also reacting. The UN is coming up with this master plans. We have a Paris Agreement. corporate things. Organizations are organizing. I think when our own things within ASEAN, there are a lot of NGOs, businesses addressing this, business networks, OECD, the ILO, the Global Compact, all operating. And in fact, just a few months ago in July this year, the International Court of Justice of the World Court in The Hague, they underlined that the management and existential threat posed by climate change, and it made the way for countries to sue each other over climate change, including the historical emissions of climate warming gases, can sue each other. So this opinion of the court may not be binding, but it paves the way for compensation from countries that feels historically that they've been burned by fossil fuels and therefore responsible for global warming. So this judgment is a reminder that business as usual is not a continuing option, and we have to act. So ASEAN has acted, many of our ASEAN countries have acted, declarations, we have initiatives, and even in Malaysia, you listen to government representatives on what has taken place. And this includes, ASEAN on circular economy. This project was started when the ASEAN CSR network, of which I was linked to, requested support from Switch Asia to support a project to mobilize businesses in ASEAN for circular economy. And the intention is to address some of the big environmental triple planetary crisis. The ASEAN CSR network was ASEAN's entity formed to promote responsible business within ASEAN. It was registered in Singapore. It is also responsible inclusive business champion with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council. The ASEAN CSR network has now transited to ACEBA, which is registered in Malaysia. So we are now a Malaysian entity. We are also a purpose-driven, not-for-profit business organization to promote responsible and inclusive business in Southeast Asia. ACEBA was registered last year and takes over all the activities of the ASEAN CSR network. ACEBA actually stands for ASEAN Responsible Inclusive Business Alliance. This code was based on a code that we developed with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council in 2019, based on 7 principles, 7 subject areas to carry on to do this. The principles are accountability, transparency, ethical behavior, respect for stakeholder interests, respect for rule of law, respect for international norms of behavior, and to treat people with respect, and covers for 7 subject areas: governance, environment, labor, anti-corruption, human rights, consumer protection. So the circular economy project, mobilizing business, had 3 things to do. We want to achieve 3 things. One was to develop a shared understanding of what is circular economy, document business cases to uncover examples from ASEAN that we are also doing it, and to get business commitment for ambition, circular economy, for circular. We have developed, we have progressed. We have a 5 principle-based framework, circular economy, after holding consultations with businesses and stakeholders, including Malaysia, throughout ASEAN. We have published more than 80 case studies. And now having ACEBA, the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance, is to build the commitment and ambition today that we will learn. So we have met the 3, and we want to build on it. In this workshop, I want to thank you all as we try to develop. We also want to be very clear to hope to make this a reality in Malaysia. With that, short remarks. Because generally I can talk longer. I will now pass on to the team leader, Dr. Zinaida Adiwa. She's based in Zinaida, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Thomas. Thank you to also other two co-conveners of ACEBA, René van Berkel and Mr. Gil Gonzalez. Colleagues, again, apologies for the technicalities and following delays, but it allowed us to get in a greater numbers to this discussion, this conversation. So good morning, selamat pagi, distinguished colleagues, partners, friends. It really is a pleasure to welcome you today on behalf of EU Switch Asia program. And as Thomas, you mentioned, our gathering focuses on issue that is both very urgent, but at the same time, and we will speak about this today, it's full of opportunity. So we are speaking today on how Southeast Asia can lead the transition to circular economy with the most important partner or actor in this process, which is a business and business communities. We know that across the region we face increasing pressures. We are speaking about resource demand, waste, emissions, associated climate change, degradation of the ecosystems. But these challenges are also driving innovations, and Switch Asia works with 42 countries across Asia and the Pacific region, and also some other regions like Middle East, even though due to circumstances, the work is, of course, very slow or non-existent at the moment. But we work to accelerate the shift towards low carbon, resource efficient, and circular economies. So Switch Asia has two components, and many of you are familiar with both of them. One of them is a grants, where small and medium-sized enterprises are enabled to pilot, to model circular economic practices, whether they are concerned the issues of efficiency in the production processes, or we are talking about new type of products or new type of relations in the business ecosystems or relations with the consumers. So a second point second component is called policy support component, and this is a team with which you are working today. And through this policy support component, we have helped governments and different organizations such as ARIBA to develop and design national and regional action plans, which lead to integration of circular economy into climate strategies when it comes to government, for example, and also develop policy tools which are supporting market transformation and circularity of the products within production and consumption systems. For example, within the context of Southeast Asia, we are speaking particularly with two policy instruments which we see very interesting. One is green public procurement systems, and we do know that procurement is a powerful lever for shifting the way governments purchase goods and services, and we can create demand for circular solutions and products, and therefore enable the private sector to invest into these circular practices. So we do know when we speak as private sector or within the private sectors that sometimes the point is not necessarily about financing or investment, though it's very, very important, but it's really about access to market. So green public procurement, GPP, is very important for that. And we have some colleagues in the audience online, I can see, who are working quite closely with this topic. We are also working with countries, including Malaysia and also Thailand and some countries outside of Southeast Asia, to build to strengthen the extended producer responsibility frameworks. And these frameworks integrate circular principles into product life cycles, and really to encourage producers to make responsibility beyond the point of sale. And what we are trying to do is not only to do to strengthen the often perceived main function of APR, extended producer responsibility, which is focused on waste, but also to make sure that through this system, the incentives are given to producers to modify the products and services at the very start. Right, but having said that, we know that policy alone cannot transform economies, and this is why business leadership is so essential. And with Switch Asia support, the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance, or ARIBA, was launched, as Thomas, you mentioned, in 2024. ACEBA is uniting national and regional business organizations to showcase innovations and put circular economy firmly on the business agenda. So we are really treating it as an activity. ACEBA is for business, Southeast Asia business, and by business. And already, as Thomas, you mentioned, more than 80 business cases have been collected, documented in different areas, in textile, plastic, food system, in construction, in tourism. And those examples really show that circular economy is not just about compliance, it is really a business opportunity. It opens new market, lowest cost, responds to growing consumer demand for sustainable products. So we begin today's discussion already now, and maybe with a few messages final from my side at this point. So governments can drive demand through things, through policies like green public procurement, APR, some other frameworks driving towards circular economy or focusing squarely on circular economy. But business really leads with innovation. This is number one. And second, the circular economy is already there, and task is really how to scale it up. And today, so both of these questions, where it is manifesting itself and how to scale up, is going to be really at the core of the discussion. I look forward to learning from today's dialogue and seeing how we can, through Switch Asia, the EU program, which is working with the region since 2007. It's the oldest technical advisory, technical assistance program to the region. So how can we work together with you, with the business community, linking to government, to civil society organizations to really make circular economy a reality? Very much look forward, and success. Over to you, Thomas.
Now we come to this part, apologies. Now we come to this part where I think we're going to hear from our government representatives on the Malaysian circular economy context. We are very honored to have two representatives from two government ministries, which is spearheading this drive. I will start with the circular economy blueprint for solid waste in Malaysia, which is done by the Ministry of Housing and Local Government. And representing them, we have Dr. Jayaprakash Muralidharan, who is the Senior Policy Advisor and Environmental Scientist. He has more than 15 years of experience in climate change, environmental management, and sustainability. He holds a PhD in atmospheric science from the University of Cambridge and an MSc in sustainability from the University of Strathclyde. Currently, he leads the Malaysia's Circular Economy Framework Act, Malaysia's Circular Economy Act Framework and key legislative reforms for solid waste management, building on a career across several ministries. His achievements include the National Haze Action Plan, Marine Litter Policy, work on the Kigali Amendment, and he has represented Malaysia in UN, World Bank negotiations, bridging science policies to deliver practical solutions for sustainability. So I'm really honored to invite Dr. Jayaprakash for this.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. So I have 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes. and trying to push the drive of change of policies within the industries and along the value chain. So for too long, our economy has been linear, as what Mr. Thomas has been mentioning and his colleague earlier. It was mostly about taking, making, and disposing. So that straight line now has left us with landfills, pollution, and lost value. But today, Malaysia is ready to bend the line into a circle, which is, as we know right now, a circular economy that turns waste into opportunity, cost into savings, risk into resilience, and basically making money out of it, monetizing waste. So do I press this or you control?
Colleagues, we cannot hear online. Something happened. I think host is muted. Could you check?
Thing novel, but this is converging and merging everything under one and trying to ambitiously move forward with this 9R approach. This is not just a slogan. It is a roadmap for industry, government, and communities to unlock the value at every stage of this value chain. Our solid waste journey is guided by 5 strategic pillars. It's almost similar to what I read, I came across in ACEBA's framework. Basically, what they are emphasizing on is the governance and legislation, whereby they're emphasizing on the stronger laws, extended producer responsibility, and a National Circular Economy Association. In terms of business, it's meant to provide clearer rules, reduce risk, and share responsibility across the value chain. While the second strategic pillar is on the procedure and guidelines. It's meant to focus on eco-labeling, product design guidelines, and also zero waste certification. For business, it's meant for design of smarter products, enhancing branding, and tap into eco-conscious consumer markets. The third is focusing on the digitalization and technology. Well, it's aiming at integrated waste data systems, e-commerce platforms, and for recyclables. In terms of business, it's meant to look at data transparency, efficiency, and access to new trading platforms. While the fourth strategic pillar is more on infrastructure and facilities. It's aimed at on wastewater eco parks, integrated waste management facilities, and upgrading landfills. For business, it's looking at lower cost to industrial symbiosis and new investment opportunities in new infrastructure. While the fifth is on market creation. Well, it's meant to look at incentives, pay-as-you-go schemes, R&D support, human capital development. For business, what they're aiming for is tax benefits, new financing, skill workforce, and stronger CE branding. Although this is in Malay, but what we are looking at is the picture of Malaysia by 2035. It's quite ambitious. So the business looking at thriving in eco parks, trading recyclables digitally in real time, communities rewarded with buybacks and centers and pay-as-you-go schemes, etc. So this is not just an environmental vision, it is a business vision, one that it aligns with ASEAN's momentum as described by Mr. Thomas earlier through ACEBA to create a regional model circular economy leadership with partnership with organizations such as ACEBA as well. So ladies and gentlemen, this is where circular economy becomes real for businesses. These 5 models, from circular inputs to resource recovery, are not just sustainability strategies. They are more for business models. They create new revenue streams, reduce risk, and prepare Malaysian businesses to compete in ASEAN and global markets. Here are 5 opportunities as shown here. For circular input, it's meant to use sustainable product design and circular supplies. Example, a packaging company replacing virgin plastic with recycled materials. In terms of business gain, what we're looking at is secure supply chains, reduce costs, and strengthen ESG credentials. Number 2 is the sharing platform. We are looking at leasing, rentals, collaborative consumption in that manner to reduce cost to the ownership. So example is basically on office equipment leasing, etc. So in business gain is meant to have stronger customer loyalty and recurring income for businesses. So the third one is on product as a service. So it's meant to look at selling performances and not just products. While the fourth is on product use extension. It's meant for repairing, refurbishing, reselling, and remanufacturing. In a nutshell, basically, product as service means you don't just sell the product once. You're meant to sell the use of it, like leasing of a car and subscribing to a printer, for example. While the performance as a service goes further, you sell the outcome, not just the machine. So, for example, we are looking at installing air conditioners. You're looking at a cooling system rather than just the air conditioners itself, in a nutshell. So this model basically aims to reduce waste, creates steady income for businesses, and ensure products are designed for durability and reusability. The fifth is on resource recovery. So it's looking at recycling, upcycling, returning materials into the whole value chain. What we are looking at business gain is basically looking at turning disposal costs into revenue while contributing to net zero goals. So the main message to businesses here is that these are not abstract concepts. They are profitable models that can cut costs, open new markets, and future-proof your business. So let me return back to the question I started with. What if waste is not the end but the beginning? Malaysia's circular economy is about more than managing waste. Our blueprint is basically aiming at building industries of the future, creating jobs, boosting competitiveness, and protecting our shared environment. Together, government, industry, academia, communities, and also organizations like ACEBA, we can ensure that by 2050, Malaysia is not remembered for the mountains of waste we once buried, for the industries, innovations, opportunities we build from what others call waste. So, ladies and gentlemen, let the circle begin here, and it begins with us. And also, before I conclude, I would just like to add on a few things that is work in progress right now. We have just, why I introduced the representative from IIUM is that we are now working on a study to develop the Circular Economic Act. So we've just started on September 1st, and it's a 12-month timeline. So in that act, we are meant to, in that study, we are meant to develop a framework of the Circular Economic Act, whereby there'll be a lot of stakeholders consultation. We are open to criticism, constructive criticism as well. It's a new game, and it's a new venture into a new sector whereby exhaustive inputs is very, very important for the government. So I would like to, the reason I'm introducing to the consultants is that they have emphasized on their role to network and to connect and to gauge this kind of ground issues. So the ministry and also the government is meant to understand what are the players, what are the issues and challenges that they're having. So at the same time as well, we are looking at developing the EPR policy by year end. So I guess most of y'all are familiar faces I've seen around for the consultation. And on that note, I hope to continuously engage with the business side, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Circle begin here. Now, I'm very pleased to invite Ms. Adrina Alvi, Senior Director of the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, present the Circular Economy Policy Framework for the Manufacturing Sector in Malaysia. Adrina is the Senior Director at the Ministries at the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry. She doesn't look it, but she has 23 years of experience in industrial policy, trade negotiations, and economic cooperation. Currently, she leads the Delivery Management Unit. She oversees the new Industrial Master Plan 2030 and has spearheaded key policies, including the Industry 4 WRD, CIR 2030, the Circular Economy Policy Framework for Manufacturing. She also negotiated the Johor, Singapore Special Economic Zones sectors and previously directed resource-based policy for industries such as oil and gas, chemicals, pharmaceuticals. She holds an MBA from the European Asian Management, with distinction from the Berlin School of Economics. So it's a great honor here from.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Oh. All right. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm very honored to be here. So apart from graduating from the Berlin School of Economics and Law, I'm also an alumni from IUN. Yeah. So I'm pleased that they are also working with KPKT to develop the framework for CE formation. So my context today will be specifically on the manufacturing sector. As you know, we came out with Industrial Master Plan, the Industrial Master Plan 2020, and one major part of that Industrial Master Plan is to spearhead the whole manufacturing sector towards achieving net zero aspiration as well. Because we also have pledged for 2050 net zero by the government, and manufacturing sector alone contributes about 10% of that emission, Malaysia's emission of all the total emission. The highest, of course, is power and energy sector. Second is manufacturing, and within that manufacturing sector, almost 70% is coming from petchem, cement, and steel industry. And the rest of the other sectors will be the manufacturing. The reason why we introduced Circular Economy Policy Framework as part of that Industrial Master Plan is to make our manufacturing sector competitive globally, especially towards ESG sensitive markets, because we are all introducing all the green policies and also green principles right now. So the next one. So this is the context. So again, like I said, manufacturing sector contributes about 24-25% to the GDP, second after service sector, 5%. And we also contribute about 80-85% of exports. Again, I have to emphasize on the need why we have to be very competitive and also making our production greener because of the ESG sensitive markets, especially the EU. The EU is quite special, I think, in this case for Malaysia, because I know this project is also funded, this whole CE and also Switch is also co-funded by EU. But MITI, we also participated in another EU funded program under UN ODC, Office of Drugs and Crime. And it went back about 4 or 5 years ago when we started to see an influx of investments coming in from China, as you know, when China stopped importation of all the waste into China in 2017-2018. And then there's an influx of investments into Southeast Asia. And then there's also a concern of waste trafficking. Hence the reason why EU funded this project with UN to see waste trafficking from EU to part of Southeast Asia. And we also introduced pockets of initiatives and also regulations plus policies. We gazette the law to limit and also control importation of all these waste into Malaysia, particularly waste, paper, metal, and also plastics. So we introduced standards where all this importation of waste must be complying with all the standards by SIRI, then only is allowed to be imported. And because of our participation in that project, when we started up about 4-5 years ago, other Southeast Asian countries were not ready. So they were all looking at Malaysia. But now I'm happy to see that at least last year or early this year, when we closed the project, Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, they have also introduced similar policy regulations to also manage the importation of the waste, and as well introducing similar circular economy policies within their countries. So you could see that at ASEAN level, everyone is also talking about circular economy because they also do not want to be the hub for all this waste to be imported in their own country. Hence also making their products sustainable by using the circular input within their own territories. Okay, so I know Dr. Jaya has also mentioned about that. So yours would be the second last there. So ours is CEPF for manufacturing sector as part of the major or the bigger industrial master plan. And I think also Dr. Jaya mentioned about EPR and then also eco labeling, and then we are also looking at making eco-industrial parks and introducing CE principles at those industrial parks. So this is the focus and also where we align with the Malaysian plan and also other policies related to circularity. Another ministry that's also heavily involved in CE is NRES, the Environment Ministry, because they are actually focusing on plastic sustainability roadmap. And then also, I think the examples I gave on waste importation, that is also to support NRES in managing importation of waste into the country. While KPKT is looking at solid waste management in the country, NRES is ensuring that waste are not imported into the country. And MITI is making sure that our manufacturers needing the waste as feedstock are importing clean raw materials, so-called raw materials, meeting the specification, and the volume needed is only what they need in their production. So it's quite a controlled environment when it comes to sourcing raw materials from overseas. But for all those investments or manufacturing plants needing making or involved in recycling activities, only domestic waste is allowed. So they are not actually allowed to bring in imported waste unless they meet the COA or the certificate of approval requirement under ceiling for plastic waste and also for waste paper. So that's the context of where we come in from the industrial master plan as well as the CE for manufacturing sector. So again, where the CEPF sits within the NIMP. So we have a mission push for net zero for until 2050, and developing the CE framework is part of that entire NIMP. Whereas we also have other policies that will also guide transition for the manufacturing sector, including decarbonization, and also we're looking at CCUS as also a new growth sector, as well as the eco-industrial park. We're also trying to get a lot more RE source to make production more greener. All right, so this is what we cover under CEPF. So for businesses, we look at circular input and then also how you manage your processes to make it more efficient right from the design itself. To talk about eco-design and also extending the lifespan of a product so that it will not end up in landfills as solid waste earlier than they should. I think that's the benefit of KPKT when we have a lot of waste generated in the economy, but that waste can actually be recycled, reused, or recreated. The value is recreated as raw materials in similar production. So I think that's the reason why we come in with this policy to ensure that we minimize the waste generated by our manufacturers. And also it starts from the design, and then also how we manage the industrial waste, where the shadow waste is managed by DOE, but the non-shadow waste currently, that is not so regulated. So within the CEPF, we are looking at eco-industrial park with perhaps integrated waste management system, where you can actually manage those industrial waste, and we're creating marketplace where those waste can be traded for as raw materials in another sector. So these are the targets for CEPF. We were questioned why is our circular material use rate is very low, and why are we not targeting higher than 1.2 in 2030? The reason being is I think that rate now is very conservative. Because we know that the recycling rate in Malaysia alone is only about 35%, or correct me if I'm wrong, whereas in advanced countries it's about 85%. And then the CMUR, which on our calculation also baseline, the European Union, for example, France has the highest, about 19%, Germany I think 16%, whereas it's not also tracked in Southeast Asian countries. The reason why also we need to have ASEAN collective initiative for CE, because we can also see where we are when it comes to using circular material in our production. When it comes to efficient process, we are looking at 30% increase, especially when we inject more RE into the process and using circular input. As a simple output is the main objective is to, like I said, minimize waste generated from manufacturing sector and reducing back that waste as material and also inputs into production process. And finally, we are also trying to identify what will be the jobs within the CE. And we feel that being part of this initiative now is the in-team. And a lot of all the companies from MNC, I was just speaking at a GRC conference last week also on CE, because almost every company now will have the sustainability office or unit or even division, because they have to meet, let's say 85% of exports are coming from the manufacturing sector. And most of our exports are into these major markets, introducing all those policies on CE. So you need to actually embrace this policy framework and also improve your production processes, minimize your waste, use circular input, and also making sure that your products, again, don't end up in landfill and as waste earlier than they should. Okay, I won't go into detail about all the policies, the strategies. I think Dr. Jaya also briefly mentioned about this, but key elements where we are similar. I think one is material lease, and then also minimum circular content, extended producer responsibility, digital waste, waste to value marketplace. This is where we want to create a digital platform where one's waste could be another company's input. Yeah, that's EPR over there. And then also we talk about taxonomy. I think taxonomy under D4 is something that we will try to establish as soon as possible. We want to ascertain specific criteria when it comes to CE investments. You want to move beyond the 3R to the 9R as well. So that is also to support KPKT. So how do you actually ensure those investments are actually not recycling investments? So taxonomy will determine the parameters and also criteria of what types of investments qualify as a CE investment. Under green investment strategy, which we need to also introduce, we target about 305 billion investments, green investments by 2030, and within that 305 billion investments, 65 is in the CE. So determining the parameters for CE investment is critical, because we don't want that 65 billion investments are purely recycling investments based on past experience. I think that's quite clear. All right, so I think this is my second final slide. So this is basically the journey. I pun ada chart down. So this is where we chart all the 14 strategies along the value chain. Sorry. I also have a chart. Yeah. All right, so it starts from the manufacturer. So perhaps that end users will be where Capicator is because that's the solid waste over there. So this is where we go into the input, and then I think it's quite clear where each initiative falls within the whole ecosystem and who are the responsible parties and also agencies. And we also have identified some of the needle movers. So we are really working hard now on A1, critical material trade list, as well as eco-industrial park. We are trying to identify of all the 600 over parks in Malaysia, industrial parks, which park can be a model where we put in this kind of chart in that park and introduce all those related initiatives. So we are looking at one or two current industrial parks that are almost there and ready and close proximity to actually introducing all this policy initiative under the policy. Right, my final slide will be on the incentives. So some of the incentives that are already available on CE. And when we talk about financing under NIMP, we also introduce co-investment fund, which is managed by Securities Commission. So CE, as long as your business, we want to invest into perhaps a new energy saving or more efficient processes, so that you could actually apply for the co-investment fund from Securities Commission, where we also help inject some amount into your project, and then the rate is lower if it is injected by the government. So COSIF, apart from the normal bank loans, capital market in financing is also something that you can explore. You can go to Securities Commission and you can find COSIF there. You can even Google COSIF, COSIF by Minty. So you can see that is also another type of financing that we are offering. And the beauty behind COSIF is partly government investment in your project, and you are aligned with NIMP. So anything that is aligned with NIMP will get like good branding lah, good signal, good branding, because everything must be aligned with NIMP now. I mean, you hear the Prime Minister also talking about two policies. One is the NETR, the National Energy Transition Roadmap, and the other one is the National Master Plan. So even at other ministries as well, they are also asking all other ministries to make sure that if you do talent development program, for example, your talent development program must be meeting the requirements of industry's need under NIMP. So that's the way the government is framing the whole NIMP and all those initiatives under a whole of government approach, including in this case, capability for CE. So that's the end of my presentation. So I'm open for questions and so on. Thank you, Thomas.
The circle started, or it's already started. But I think one of the things that will not go in circles is the answers to your question. Do you have any questions for this? Those online, you can also ask the questions. Just post it in, and we'll get. Renee is tracking with Lorraine, so please ask the questions then. Yeah. Just say who you want, so everybody knows.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Marilyn. I'm from MCOR Flexibles Asia Pacific. I think maybe MCOR in Malaysia is not very popular, but MCOR is quite well known globally as a packaging, one of the biggest packaging converter. So I come from the flexibles business, which is soft plastics, flexible packaging. So think of your bread bags, your potato chips, Keropok bag, where you put syringes are input to the flexibles packaging as well. So that's the business that I come from. So MCOR actually has, is very focused on circular solutions, circular economy, right? So we think of, what we call as recycle ready solutions. So designing our packaging to be actually recyclable in theory, but depending on the market that this packaging will come into, it may or may not be eventually, recycled. So that's where we really need the government effort. We really need the government's effort as well as support to ensure that policies are in place, systems are in place, to ensure that all of these packaging can be kept in a circular economy, right? So that was an interesting presentation from both Dr. Jaya. Thank you. My question will be, right, because I see there are waste to energy systems or approach that is being proposed alongside with, I guess, recycling, reusing, right? So how do we make sure then that there is no, in a way, competition of resources or these, collected waste, right? Obviously, we want to, again, keep everything in a circular loop. We want packaging to be recycled, the recycled content to be used back into those packaging. How do you then ensure that that solution is prioritized over, let's say, disposal to landfill or maybe even to waste to energy? That's a very important thing to consider. I do have other questions, but maybe I'll find time to go with you later. Thank you.
Can you pick one more question?
So if I understand correctly, you are looking at how do you ensure the resources, how do you actually ensure the resources are allocated? I think there are two things to this. One, the circular content in a product. What we understand is a lot of or many of our recyclers, right, they produce products and then they say they are making some parts of the semi-finished products and they export out because there's a market over here. There is no condition or requirement to put in circular content in a plastic bottle, for example, for Malaysia. So, but they export that, in this case is plastic, they export those plastic resins elsewhere because it is a requirement. Again, I said the ESG center market. So they would want Coca-Cola bottle, for example, to be made maybe 20-25% made of plastic resin. So what we did was those investments, so I'm talking about investments here, if you want to bring in investments, you must ensure that resins are also translated into finished products in Malaysia because you don't want to be the base of producing semi-finished products with low value added and it's exported out. So that's part on making sure that the investments actually bring value from the waste. So on making sure we have enough resources for everyone. So that also comes the investment picture. When we get all those applications, we don't allow them to import the waste. So we need to have enough materials or the recycled materials within the country. Hence the reason why we are actually pushing KPKT to introduce better collection method to get back those plastic waste. We can't be getting in and approving investments as they come in with the same condition that we have to source locally because we only have that much or the pie is only that much. So we don't actually have enough resources for our manufacturers. So the policy will actually ensure that KPKT will also will push for maybe the 9R faster so that all our manufacturers will have enough resources for their production. I think that's where we try to balance between the need for raw materials and also ensuring that those raw materials are coming from within the country and not from imported sources. Because managing imported waste is a headache. And then I think NRAS, the previous minister, Wabini Nazmi, I know he has gone through the ports many times. I myself have been to the ports to see all the containers containing all those e-waste and then also all this plastic waste. So I think we are looking at managing the number of companies sourcing the materials. The reason also why we have an initiative under the CPF for the marketplace. This is why I said that once waste could be another person's wealth, because that is that raw material. So resource optimization is key principle in CE. So we're trying to get there. So I think by 2030 lah, hopefully we can achieve what we intend to achieve.
Actually building up from what Ms. Adrina said, actually spot on what she said, resource optimization. The challenge from us, from the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, building on from that is basically trying to precisely interpret what are the content of the space, which means under to data. So the challenge in Malaysia, and similarly in ASEAN, not only Malaysia, within ASEAN developing countries, is identifying the components of these resources. So when your question was how are we supposed to ensure that WTE systems and listing resources, which one is prioritized? We don't have a clear answer for that, but those are approaches we are looking at. Well, how it works is that along the value chain, the government is working on emphasizing on the solution, while we are also working on identifying the resources and the type of resources that's coming into Malaysia and also being produced. Those are clearly the challenge we are facing right now. So while we are also emphasizing on EPR by end of the year, we have realized that the components and composition of waste is also unclear, the guiding principles. So I'm not providing an answer, clear answer, which is best and how we're going to do it, but I'm telling you the challenges that we are having, and also we are working on trying to, like what Juanita said, resource optimization on our angle from KPKP is trying to get the data, validate this data. What is going to landfill, what can be recycled, which can go into which options of WTE or etc. So those are important information to provide for industry players to be ready. So you need to have this prioritizing of resource optimization is actually key.
Thank you. Okay, one question from you. Then we have online.
No question, obviously, only answers.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Sri. I'm from Smart Circularity. Answering to your question because I'm one of the panel for both of the work with both of the ministries as well on the circular economy standards development as well. Now, answering to your question, the answer to your question is actually in your hand. Reason is because, as you said, that you are producing ready for recycle, but what is beyond that? Have you spoke about it within the supply chain to recollect back for recycling and so on? So on the ground, we have been supporting several SMEs, several brands and so on already since 2015 in Malaysia. So we know that it is developing, and there need to be consistent supply of the material so that the technology will emerge. So policy is only supporting, but the industry needs to play an important role because you as a producer or within your supply chain, we don't see the supply chain connection here in Malaysia yet. Right. So I think through the upcoming EPR policy, that will work soon. It's being launched by end of this year, and next year it will be voluntary, 2028 onwards. So I think that's the need to get that.
Thank you. I think we have a question online. Yeah, I just speak on behalf of Online Materials in Works is asking which is basically sticker recycling company. They would like to apply for pioneer status. So they are asking basically what would be the criteria for accessing this pioneer status. Maybe you can just highlight quickly, and then we can put you after the event in touch with the person because they might want to discuss specific details.
Okay, the best and straightforward answer to that is just go to MIDA's website because everything is there when it comes to incentive. So I wouldn't be able to highlight the whole list of criteria and what are the processes, but MIDA's website, that's go to MIDA's website. Yeah, and then everything is there to apply for any of the incentives. Yeah.
And I will add, go to the website, don't understand, contact, send an email to the ministry and you'll get an answer. Okay. My experience with the MTI is that they are quite responsive. Thank you. On that note, I think we just to catch up with time. Let me now pass the mic over to Renee for the suspension. So for the next presentation. So thank you very much. So I connected my presentation. So I would like to talk a little bit more about circular economy. We heard both, we saw two diagrams which were quite aligned. So that's a good starting point because and we know that circular economy is quite a concept which is being interpreted by different organizations in different ways. So I'm speaking of the co-convener of ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance, I'm also expert for the Switch Asia program and work at ASEAN University and the resources panel. So it's clear that circular economy is on the agenda. We have seen this on the regional agenda with ASEAN having a circular economy framework. And what's interesting, they really focus on the strategic goals like the resilient economy that's less dependent on critical imports, on resource efficiency. We heard that several times, resource productivity, which is the reverse of efficiency, and then sustainable growth. And of course, also we have then the national agendas which were there. Laos was one of the first, 2017, 29 in Singapore, 2021 Thailand and Cambodia, then 24 Indonesia, 24 also the two documents that we saw here, the circular blueprint strategy and the policy framework. And then Vietnam launched also circular economy action plan earlier this year, and there's some discussions on an act in the Philippines ongoing. So I might pretty much say that all around ASEAN, we see circular economy emerging. And the common trust areas, and I think this was also a little bit highlighted early on by Sinai, that team leader from Switch Asia, that there is a trust around engaging business, and that's a little bit also what Thomas was saying, building upon this or addressing this trust deficit. So how can we get businesses to take a proactive stand in circular economy? And the other areas are clearly also leveraging the purchasing power of governments, green public procurement, or sustainable public procurement, and then the extended producer responsibility. So I won't speak too much about the public procurement and the extended producer responsibility, but more speak about how we can get business engaged. So I think, and that's been highlighted, we have a linear economy, and circular economy is essentially positioned as the exact opposite of the linear economy. But we don't have a very precise definitions of circular economy. So we just say we know what linear is, and we just want the opposite without being very clear on that. So it needs to be something to make use, and recover. But I guess that we often forget to say repeat it then again. So circular economy is not once recycling, but it should be basically perpetually recycling. So we should not just find the next application, but we should find a way that we have done the plastic bottle into textiles, and what's going to happen then with these textiles. So perpetually, ultimately, is circular. So we've seen that this evolved from the 3 R's to then we had 9 R's. Then we see now the ISO, the attempt of the International Standards Organization to standardize the implementation of circular economy, came up with 13 resource management issues. But I guess, and that's maybe already been emphasized by the two government speakers here, that circular economy does not equal a recycling economy. Or if I be more provocative, I would rather say recycling is the last resort in the circular economy, because circular economy is about upfront actions to avoid waste, to avoid that you have something left to recycle. So having said that, we see that the discussion is very much divided because of coming from different schools of thought, you might say. So there's different sources of inspiration that have come to circular economy. We have here 4, which I think are mostly there. So we have the ecosystem metaphor. So we say we want material flows in the economy to duplicate or replicate material flows as they go in nature. So copy nature, and then we get this Alan Carter butterfly diagram, which differentiates between technical materials, which we need to keep in stocks and continuously flowing, plastics, chemicals, and metals, which need to be kept in flows. We need to manage the stocks of those materials. And then we have natural or biological materials, which is basically food, fiber, which can be basically also cycled back into nature. So we have an opportunity to use nature to break down and to regenerate that. So that's the Ellen Carter Foundation's perspective. Then we have basically the precautionary principle, which is established in the Rio Declaration of '92 already, which is basically saying that if there's doubt on environmental risks, don't do it. And that has led to the 3 R's and now the 9 R's. And there's other definitions out there. 9 R's is basically rethink, refuse, remanufacture, refurbish as additional components to this recycling. Then there is the ones on the business models, and we have also seen that slides earlier, which is saying that you take materials out of nature, their value is very low. If it goes into materials manufacturing and to a product that becomes very high, the value, so the value hill, and then once you throw it away, it drops back down. And you're talking about business models that retain this value of these materials in products and in parts there. And then we often talk about narrowing, so using less, so making the same packaging with less plastic, then use longer, so that we repair, refurbish or sharing business models. And closing is really the closing of the materials loops going back into nature, then regenerate is the nature component. And then we have the notion of, I apologize for small diagram, but it's looking at resource use and saying that we basically use too much resources, and we need to find ways that we can grow the economy without using a similar increase in the growth of material use. As we call it, doing more economic output with less natural resources, and also what people are saying, getting more well-being out of this. So it's also about people being happy with less material stuff. So that's this circularity, the dematerialization, decoupling concept. So these different perspectives mean that we are basically talking across purposes with some of the discussions. So Switch Asia has then come up with basically following the ISO 5904 definition, that we're basically talking about closing material cycles, which means bringing the net input of virgin materials as close as possible to zero, and also the outflow of wasted materials into nature as close as possible to zero. So you can conceptualize that as a circular value chain, which you see there, basically extraction, product manufacturing, services, product use and maintenance, end of life management, and resource recovery and value retention. And throughout this circular value chain, which we would like to get, we apply these 3 resource management strategies. The first one is resource circularity. So that's basically retaining the value, recovering value from waste materials. So that's basically the closing, the circularity elements. But this is supported by the efficiency strategy. So that's basically doing everything with less stuff, less materials, or you say you basically, if you use things longer, it's basically also an efficiency one, because we have longer functionality from the same materials. And then the third strategy is this resource substitution, which means transitioning from using non-renewable materials and energy to renewable materials. And this basically applies to materials, but also to water, heat, energy, to other forms of nature. So 3 resource management strategies combined with this value chain. If I just take a few examples to illustrate that these strategies are actually working in concert with one another. So I take this great giant foods, which is in Indonesia, which is the largest canned pineapple operation in the world, and banana growers as well. They have a resource circularity because they use the food processing waste, that animal feed, in the farm which they have. They then digest the manure for biogas and bionutrients for the sludge. And then they also do the bromelain extraction from the pineapple stems, which is then used as a pharmaceutical ingredient, and they use recycling packaging. Then they do resource efficiency by driving basically precision agriculture. They reduce the fuel and fertilizer use in farmer by 40% and 30% respectively, and also increased outputs. That's the efficiency part. And then they reduce the soil erosion by better management of the land and improve the resource efficiency with new technology in the processing plant. And then in terms of resource substitution, you have bioenergy by fertilizers, but also rainwater harvesting, which fits in there. So three strategies working together. And you see over the few years' time, 24 to 60% reduction in carbon footprint, depending on which product you base this on, what level of processing is involved. Similar, but same, but different, as they say in Thailand, is for Bangladesh, which is a large manufacturer of clothing, of garments. And you see the circularity, so they have pilots with third-party contractors to look at different ways of using the fabric cut-off waste, which is a large portion of the waste, back into workwear recycling, so that uniforms will starve out of it, to carpet suppression work, they do vermicomposting of food waste. Then they have done efficiency upgrades to reduce water and energy intensity. They do fabric waste minimization by using optimized design and optimized placing of the different parts of the garments. And they have to eliminate the single-use plastics in the operations, done rooftop solar and passive solar lighting. And they achieved actually over 5 years, 60% reduction in the greenhouse gas intensity, so carbon footprint, and they have validated plans to become carbon neutral by 2050 and reduce emissions 50% for scope 1 and 2 and 30% for scope 3 by in the 10 years. So that's part of the science-based targets initiative. So you can see that this resource circularity works in tandem with resource efficiency and then in tandem with resource substitution. So using things perpetually and using things efficiently and going to nature. So with Switch Asia, we have been working on engaging these businesses over the last 2 years, and we get repeatedly the question with threat or an opportunity. If we then go kind of distill these questions, there are 5 points which business is asking us. So what's the purpose, what's the scope, what's the rationale, why should we do this? Then how do we, what's the means, how can we actually address this? And what's then the relevance beyond just planetary benefits? So that is where we came up with this guiding principles, and there was a copy available there. So basically we said that rather than trying to get definition number 500 for circular economy, let us try to articulate what's the ambition of circular economy, and then we can use that as a kind of a magnetic north, as a compass. Every business will have to determine that specifically how it can reach there. So we have these 5 guiding principles through here. So the first one is basically saying that we do in circular economy to achieve this net zero climate, nature, and environment. So that's linked to the triple planetary crisis of climate change, loss of nature, and pollution. So it is really a strategy to contribute, or operational way to contribute to the solving the triple planetary crisis. And we say that circular economy deals with how we use the stuff in factories, so materials, energy, and water, and we use those efficiently, circularly, substitute. So that's the 3 resource management strategies. Then as a third part, and I think that is very important, that several times you already mentioned ESG, so environment, social governance, social responsibility. So this basically is a responsible business agenda. So in a responsible business agenda, according to ESG guidance from ISO and the CSR and social responsibility standards, ISO 26000, it says that an organization has a responsibility for the impact of its activities and decisions on environment and society. So if you design a product, you decide on what materials are being used and how much stuff is being used. It's material in terms of how much environmental impact is there. So circular economy is basically a way to also operationalize a commitment to responsible business. And the fourth one is really highlighting that circular economy happens by designing new products and services and new systems around it for producing and consuming. So it's ideation and co-creation, which often a business cannot necessarily always do on its own. So it asks for new forms of collaboration with new business networks, new value chains. But it's ideation, co-creation. And of course, the last point is emphasizing that even though we start with an environmental lens, as looking for opportunities with material changes, we still want to contribute to social economic benefits. And it's quite clear. So climate change is already causing a lot of havoc, which we see in the region also. So anything we do to slow down climate change will have a return on investment in 5 or 10 or 20 years to come. We will be within our life, climate change. So there is already the societal costs and benefits are very clear, but even for businesses, we see that there's opportunities for cost savings. So these are 5 guiding principles, and guiding principles are not guidelines, so it's not following ABC and then we'll get there, but they serve as an inspiration to set ambition and find ways to deliver on that. So we did, in addition to that, we were asked, well, is this of value to Southeast Asian business? And we developed basically set out to document the circular economy business cases. We did so far 3 for Malaysia. There were some printouts there, but they're all online. So we have 83 business cases this far documented. They're all on the website, accessible through this QR code or on the ACEBA.org, the website. So we have 3 business cases, so it's 4 circularities, I think they're relatively known. So they have established and operated clothing and textile waste collection network, and then direct the textile fabric back to repurposed applications, whether it's being bags, shopping bags, or whether it's textile items or souvenir items, or some of it has to be recycled for fiber recovery. And then the second one is natural glass, which basically has a decentralized system for glass waste collection also at the community level. So you can basically spread the bottles, and then rather than transport back empty bottles, you transport back the glass in a compact way and use recycle that back into building material, basically kitchen tops and other products. And then the new cell, but here we will speak about that as basically battery rejuvenation, but I won't steal your storm. So these are 3, and really emphasize that you're interested, we can showcase more about. We'd be very interested to work on the inspiration that comes out of these business cases. So if you look across these business cases, why do business get involved? It's very clear. There are still cost savings. And you might say business is in the business of being more efficient, but still the cost of materials, energy are often overlooked. There's ways of finding efficiency gains. So there's an immediate opportunity for cost saving. And this has been the same story for the last 2 or 3 decades, that businesses start to look for efficiency opportunities. There's always opportunity. Cost of materials have become more expensive. Energy has become more expensive, water is become more erratically available. So anything you can do to reduce your dependence on these materials is generally useful. Then we see there's also new business opportunities. Some markets, and certainly ESG-sensitive markets, EU, Japan, are looking for circular products and are at times either demanding this as an entry barrier, as a requirement, or offering a premium for sustainably used materials. But we also see among the 83 business cases that some companies which see new applications for their core technology. So we have Mysol from Indonesia, for example, is a biotechnology, but they biotechnology around mushrooms, and they now use mushrooms on agricultural waste to produce a leather alternative material for leather. So that was not their core business, but they see opportunities where they can apply their core competencies to do something which is meaningful for the circular economy. So new business, new products. And I think the third one is basically the recognition from certain sectors. And I think that's more the leading businesses. They say we are in the sector where we produce maybe consumer goods which might be under scrutiny for in the near future. So we can do profitable business today and maybe next year or the year after there, but in 5 or 10 years, there's no future for our business as we see it right now. So rather than wait until we're forced by the market, why don't we pivot into new products and services? And you see that in the plastics packaging, you see that in the fast fashion to a certain extent. So that's more sensitive where people are saying it's a talk in town, circular economy. So I better find out what it means without an immediate business case. But if you look at in the management part, then they would say it's risk management. So dealing with the liabilities which comes there, that's value creation, so be agile to develop new products and services, and a strategic advantage. So prepare your business, don't wait till you'll be left behind. That is the management part. But I think just think about cost savings. What can you do today, tomorrow with investments, new technology become available. You can automate some processes, energy savings, water savings are still there, new products, new markets are there. And then what appears to drive success, because we have this 80+ business case, and then we see some elements there. So the companies which we see are the ones which have a sense of purpose. They understand or have an appreciation of what their contribution is to society and the environment, and that comes back to responsible business. So what is the company going to do? Then they also have innovation, so they have a new product that has a material impact on how much materials stuff is being used. I think it's very interesting. Maybe I can't speak about all of them, but that some companies are really making interesting combinations of both more traditional knowledge, the passive knowledge, the established, and then the formal knowledge. Some patterns which are there. So companies are trying to revive traditional agricultural practice and then now do come back to corporate crops, to incorporating to sort of applying the current science with some of the traditional practices, and it comes with regenerative farming systems, for example. And then, of course, nothing will happen without an entrepreneur. So we need to also say that as opportunities, but ultimately needs a business which is driven by some risk taking, by some drive. So entrepreneurialism is also very important. And this is then maybe I would say that these are then company to deal with many of the other challenges, because I would not be waving away that for companies it's sometimes difficult to get the finance, to get the markets, to get the technology up there. But if you have a strong business, you can overcome some of the challenges. If you have a big business, then even if the challenges are taken away, you can't succeed. So we need to really focus on empowering businesses to take the right solutions, not copy and paste on what somebody else has done, but find the solutions which are focused on the circular journey of each company. I know I spoke a lot, but I want to wrap up, and maybe we can open up for a couple of questions or comments, and then we go for coffee, tea. So are there any comments, questions? Yes.
Thank you so much. Very insightful. I am quite interested to hear from your expert thoughts, probably not solution. Well, many have been asking what the government can do for the businesses, right? So my thoughts from your expert knowledge, what are the businesses doing, and in relation to the shift in the whole financial institutions where they're emphasizing, I think they're moving towards the whole green procurement within those banks in financial institutions, shifting from, if you're familiar with the ECFD, into the ISSB, which is the International Standards blah 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 board thingy, right? So looking at the circular economy businesses, right, within ASEAN, the upcoming players, right? How and what, my question is that, So how do we actually ensure the circular economy model that you have presented earlier on these things? I don't see that being emphasized in most, not only in your slides, but I mean in most businesses actually incorporate the highest standards of sustainable financing within their businesses. If they are not, while they're looking at reducing in all the 9 Rs, and while the government is providing the incentives, at the same time, they might go on a model of the PPP model might be developing in future for when we're talking about WTE and all stuff, right? So how the businesses are supposed to prepare themselves, invest in their companies to be able to tap into this new financing mechanism that exists within these financial institutions in ASEAN especially. I'm not worried about the big MNCs, big global companies, but I'm looking at these startups that are coming up. Are they aware that they are supposed to also emphasize and invest into this sustainable governance, financial governance in ASEAN?
Many questions together. I think first of all, I would basically say that's 3 steps for getting the investments investable. First of all, you need to make absolutely sure you have the right solution, and that I think is sometimes a bit missing. So we emphasize businesses, look at your own products, look at your own markets, look at what's the best solution for it, rather than taking a 9R solution in there. And we see sometimes as a reflection of or maybe criticism of the 9R model is that it becomes the art of kind of re-engineering, remanufacturing into your process. That might not be the best solution. So that's why we emphasize so much on this open innovation space of circularity, efficiency, and substitution. So first of all, make sure that you have absolutely the right solution for your business, that you understand it and justify that. Because I get also feedback from bankers in the end, they say the company comes says I want to invest in this recycling or refurbishment technology, and the bank asks why that, and they say, oh, that's somebody what supplier has provided. Not a good sense of how this relates. So technically sound. And then the second is that the company needs to be able to attract finance, which is also nothing to do with circular economy, but have your books in order, have your accounts cleared, no shabby business notes, second account. So that's all related also to corporate finance, governance for it. And then the third element is to then, if you want to tap into the circularity finance and sustainability finance, it's basically only to deal with the specific requirements with the transparency and the international sustainability standard with ISSB criteria and related ones. I think that with many of the companies, the 80+ companies that we documented, they started not necessarily from a perspective of wanting to attract sustainability funds, but it's just for an opportunity and it's for some responsibility. I think we could also try to look at in a different angle to some of the startups and look at why they are not able to attract investors. Because it's true that we hear some startups, they say we have a market that we could scale up 10 times, but we can't get the finance. So there is startups which are having a challenge to access finance. But the other side is also true that the banks have sustainability funds and they not necessarily find the right project. So there is a gap to bridge. We would like with ACEBA, with these initiatives, to kind of showcase businesses and bring them forward. Let's look at this. Is it the right technology, the right technical solution? And you look at bringing your books in order so that you're financially viable to invest in, so best investment is then the sustainability factor. Okay, that was a long-winded answer, but I hope that was useful. Any other comments or suggestions?
Good morning, guys. So really, you're saying that if we have these 2 components with us, ACEBA will be able to find it related to this like a startup. I mean, we as a startup will ACEBA be able to do a pilot run with any other big energy company
kind of to bridge that part. If we have these three components, will there be some sort of that can help to actually get that finance? I think, but that I'll speak later a bit more about specific role of ACEBA. So ACEBA currently is more on the networking and knowledge sharing and the motivation parts. But we are certainly, and we've only launched 12 months ago, a little bit more than 12 months ago. So we don't have yet the credibility or the track record to assist in the financial transactions. But from the EU side, which is sponsoring a lot of this work to Switch Asia, they're really looking at how can we get a pipeline of bankable projects out of this, and therefore we are looking at ways of how we can facilitate more this. I don't have money to share right now or to sign up on a loan, but clearly people are looking at ACEBA as a means to identify potential projects to be bankable. So shall I suggest that we break for coffee, tea? Come back in 20 minutes, 11:10. The coffee tea is served here on the left side. Thank you very much. And we can also share some knowledge in the break. Thank you very much.
The video.
Okay, we will continue the program with some sharing of business examples, business cases, sharing from some of the businesses. But to get us a little bit in the mood, I want to start with the short video which was done on circular economy in business for ASEAN. So with that, maybe I can ask the team to play the video.
Clean air, water, food, and the habitable climate are at risk due to the overconsumption of materials. Some businesses are addressing this challenge by adopting circular and low-carbon solutions. Supplying local premium water in refillable glass bottles avoids the energy use of shipping water globally, prevents plastic pollution, and rewards local communities for their water stewardship. Turning rice husk into biochar for agricultural use regenerates the soil and minimizes the need for chemical fertilizers and energy for irrigation. Connecting factories so that the waste from one industry is used as raw material for another industry. Adopting advanced technology and digitalization to conserve energy, minimize fabric waste, and turn waste fabric into new fabric. Making premium mattresses affordable with a subscription service that guarantees recycling and material recovery at the end of their life. By changing the way things are designed, produced, consumed, and returned for repeat use, we switch to a circular economy where natural systems are regenerated. Southeast Asia is home to 70 million businesses. Some are taking action, yet more are needed for the circular economy transition. Play your part. Share your business story. Learn what companies in Southeast Asia are already doing.
Thank you. I hope I think there's a lot of networking in this room, and then now has gone to the coffee break and people are coming back. Now we have a very important session where we will share the experience of the circular economy, non-Malaysian business. I'm pleased that we have got three companies that have come forward to and accepted an invitation to share their experiences. And to more, I'm letting you tell the story of your company. It's represented by Sir Thomas Hui, another Thomas. You know, there are more saints in the world with the name Thomas than so you see my bald hair, it's shining, it's not a hangover. Then we have Stephen from Geomax Rubber and Dinesh from Renew Cell. They have all got very amazing stories, very interesting stories, and they all have got very long bios and very interesting things. But I just want to I am not going to read it out because of the time, so please we'll put it where as introductions to our speakers. What we're going to do is I had some questions to ask them, and they have been very kind to make a small presentation of basically to cover three things which we asked. What circular economy solutions will the company develop and implement? What are the benefits of circular economy to the business and the environment? And number three, how can communities, consumers, and or other stakeholders be involved and benefited from this program? So they have all agreed. So what we're going to do is, because of the logistics here, I'm going to invite one by one to make the presentation. Then we'll have a chair here, and we'll have a question and dialogue. To start off with my prejudice for Thomas, I'll ask Thomas to start. Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you, Senior Thomas. Junior Thomas. Okay. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Thomas. I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer for Entoma Biotech. So, we are the group of entomologists, passionate entomologists that stay in Malaysia that understand and to do a research on this called insect. So originally this is the which I said okay. So I'm the father of breeding this fly. Okay, so people say, why you breed fly? Because this fly is totally different from the house fly that you are seeing. Okay, so this fly is created by the God. Okay, so what we do is understand the behavior, how this fly can turn all the dead body and the animal dead body younger back to the earth. So what I believe, something that calls sustainable is the formula must come from the God. Because what God created is this insect in this world is more than 2,000 to 3,000 years already. So there is a meaning here. So we have developed this ento technology equation, how to bring this fly from the jungle back to the lab, cultivate them, and then make it as an industry and use the natural solution to solve our urban problem. Okay, so let me pass the word to I think I got 5 minutes only. Okay, so what is this? Oh, this is been okay. This is the company policy. Okay, so just a quick in the of my company. So we recognize locally and globally. So our business and our mission have been recognized in most Asia. Also, we went to US, also Europe, presenting our solution. And recently, we also the great winner for Asia Entrepreneurship Award, Japan. And we also the top 7 finalists in Sushi Tech Tokyo. And then in local, you can see Kajana Impact, Petronas, and some in Taiwan, right, in Korea, because we have some project in Korea and some project in Indonesia. So we go up to the stage and bring Malaysia to the international level. Okay, so this is the laughing because the fly, okay, we have a technology to make the fly more horny in the lab. So we put a very nice environment with the spotlight, everything with the nice music and same aroma. So they are very good in mating. So they will produce a lot of baby maggot. For this baby maggot, okay, we will transfer to the food waste. Okay, they will consume the food waste very fast in 1 week. Right? Either we 1 ton, 10 ton, 100 tons in 1 week, we can settle that very fast. So this is the maggot we call black soldier fly larva, BSF. Okay, so you just go to the Wikipedia, you just type this the name. Okay, there is he is a nature-based cleaner. Okay, there are no pets that never transmit any disease, because this fly, when the adult fly, they only can survive 1 week only. They don't have mouth, they don't go fly away, fly to your food and eat. Okay, the purpose is to mating only. And then after mating, 1 time only, brother and sister, 1 time only, and then they will die. Okay, the rest of your job is passed to the larvae. Okay, so our circular economy approach is very simple. So we try to connect to solve the 2 problems at the same time. One is the food waste, another one is the food security. Food waste and food security is a global issue at the same time. So what we're going to do is we connect this stuff. How are we going to connect? So for this food waste, we have a pre-treatment SOP. We want to treat this food waste first, and then we feed to this maggot, this larva, and then in 7 days, this small larva will grow, and then we further produce. There is the output from the process. One is the insect protein, another one is the flush. Flush is the excretion, or we call food from the larvae, because they eat the food, So this is the flush is fertilizer for the plant, and then the insect protein is for the animal. So these insect proteins can replace the fish meal, soya, all these proteins. Okay, so it's back to our food cycle again. So it's supply to the food security and back to human, and this is we call a simple circular economy. Okay, so we have designed our 2 solutions for Malaysian market, and we are implementing already. Okay? So we also register ourselves under Bursa Carbon Exchange, and we have accredited as a Malaysia digital status. There is a 2 solution we implement in Malaysia. Currently, there is a decentralized, we call TAS, is treat at source, because we understand some of our client, their food waste is not a small volume. Okay, so why the truck need to go there? Why don't we your waste stay there, don't come out, let our system go to treat it. Okay, so this we create a container that we have IPE, and then for the corporate hotel, recycle center and school, and then another one is centralized. Now we're working very closely with the government, so we're going to set up a centralized plant, okay, that can cater more volume, okay, for this organic waste, for city council, more FMD factory and plantation. Okay, for this guy we call EMBC, Atomic Mobile Bioconversion System. We have certified by my SCI. my Malaysian my Hijama and CFP analysis. So this container is 20 times 10 feet. We park at the hotel, school, okay, or later I will show you some of our clients. And then we treat about 1.5 tons per month. Okay, all the food waste treat at the site. And then the outcome, okay, we supply to the urban farmer. Okay, they will buy the urban farmer to support the urban farmer. And then produce the animal feed facility, and we use very low electric consumption and water. Okay, mostly the larvae do the job. Okay, we don't need to do the, they don't need aircon, they don't need anything. Just put nicely the environment for them. They eat 24 hours, 7, no annual leave, no holiday, nothing. They'll just eat. Okay, so this is the upcoming. I want to set up a community of scientific innovation hub that can in township. Okay, I now put a lot try to push the developer. So every township there must be a center of this community hub that can treat the waste, carbon credit, product selling, also as in education part. And this is my dream. Okay. So this is some of my client, okay, like Sour Lagoon. Okay, so Sour Lagoon, we did this on site. So all the food waste, not all I think, is a parcel from the staff canteen. The food waste sent over here. We produce the maggot, the larvae, and then the fertilizer, and then they will bring back for the zoo. So because our lagoon there is a zoo, mini zoo inside there. So all these larvae with the fish, with the bird, everything is there. The substance there, and then the fertilizer will work for the landscaping. So this is circular economy for the summer. So we have Malaysian. So I think this is this is the some of the picture like I did, this is the Sour Lagoon, okay. And IGM Land also under the ESG budget, okay. They'll put this budget then to us. We keep our cabin at this Oasis International School. So all the canteen, the school canteen, food waste will be treated here. And then the larvae we buy, we sell to the urban farm, okay, to support the agriculture industry. And this is how they do for the CSR program. Okay, and this is also one of the initiatives because I believe education is the must. That's why we not only do the corporate, we also ask the corporate to sponsor our system in the school, because the school, the children is our hope. Yes. Yeah. So we've gone soon. So in this SDKCD Hansubandaya, okay, the PPP group has sponsored this our system in the school. So we educate them, we educate the student, the principal, everything. Please educate yourself. So because Malaysia, the problem is we never do a certification. Not like other countries like go Taiwan, Korea, all these, sometimes in Shanghai now, they all start to have the policy, very strict policy that you must do a certification. So it's not that for us. So we have to start. So the school, the guru discipline, everything, okay. So anyway, every time there is a recess time, okay, we have to be there, have the student, where to put, this is the food waste over there. So this food waste, every day we collect the food waste in the canteen, and then we send to our cabin here, and then we do all the process at the cabin. So we will employ the B40 community to run the operation, and then they will get income money, extra income for them, right? And then the sales for the product, we also talk up to the school society. They can buy some for the poor students, right? So this is the impact. Because when it comes to the circular economy, I think the impact not only to the company but also to the society and for our generation. So So this recently we just launched, I think, of Sunday. Okay, we work very closely with PBKL. So we also put this beside the hospital forum for the Medang Sedera. There is a food hawker there. So we transfer all the food waste inside there. Then we produce also. Okay, so the impact is there. Okay, so we want to reduce the food waste in the landfill first thing, okay? And then reduce the carbon. Okay, and then we also engage the community to run it, and then community also get the income. Okay, this is our objective. And then we have a lot of cross-border section, Taiwan, Indonesia, Singapore, Korea, China, all this, because we not only actually we are technology provider. Okay? Our core business is engineering. So our founder is waste treatment engineering. So from the waste treatment, we further this organic waste. Okay, we have POC in Korea that treat the food waste like the kimchi. So they're very good. The quality, the kimchi, everything very nice. And then the factory processing plant where caught inside the lost smell. Right? So this is why we know all the secret behind. We want to bring that in Malaysia and apply it. Okay? So yeah, what we delivery we have like all the local like Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia. All this we have given a lot of our solution provided to our client. So to encourage them to do the circular economy, especially the palm oil industry. So we encourage the palm waste to decanted cat. Okay? Mostly the decanted cat they throw away. So this decanted cat we have for formulation, and then we feed back to the larvae. This larvae become protein, and then they pack as feed, animal feed to sell again, another income stream for them. Okay, in Indonesia and Malaysia and FGB in Kuantan also. Okay, this is some of our project. Okay, so this I also have small like this. so food waste going to and we can carbon offset, upcycling food waste instead fertilizer and farmer and food security. So this is what we see here is the subject, how the food waste move. But mostly the benefit comes here. How the circular eco money is this model. I have some of our clients have made money from this circular economy because that is the retail supply chain for our client. So this client, example, I cannot mention the name. Okay, so this client they have a factory that produce the food, sandwich, all this kind of thing. So from this organic waste production line, they will pay us a treatment fee. On this treatment fee, we process everything, the food converting to the dry larvae and soil fertilizer. And then we will OEM and pack. Okay? And then they will sell back to all the 600 retail outlets in Malaysia. And then whatever they sell, the profit that they sell can cover back the cost that they pay to us. Okay? This is why we help our client to generate income. Okay, so I think to the change, the last step is the change we wish to see in the world. Let's work together. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Very passionate, but that's why one of the problems feel like Thomas is like to talk. We'll get a bit from us that. Next, I will invite Stephen from QMax. Very interesting story. I think you should really.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Thank you for having me here. So, what started from a crazy or stupid idea? I work for my family business, so we are in the footwear industry. So in 2017, I came to know that Malaysia was the largest glove producers, and now every month they produce about one company can produce about 40 tons of injected metal gloves, and it's always end up in the landfill. So the question is, why nobody do something for that, right? So in fact, there is no the glove industry, and some people already trying to R&D and to recycle this rejected metal glove, but it was not successful because of either the recycling process create toxic, or after recycling there's no value. So that's why a lot of them just give up, and simple way is send to the scary waste, pay some fees, and problem solved. But the problem doesn't end there. So the rejected glove at the landfill, it will take more than 200 years, just to disintegrate, not even biodegrade. So what happens if the landfill caught fire? So they might also release harmful or toxic gas. So that time I was thinking to myself, if I can recycle this rejected metal glove into my products, I'm doing footwear, people, and it will be a good idea. But the idea wasn't being accepted, especially for my company itself also. So I was given two choices. One is to stop doing this stupid or crazy idea, or second is to exit the company. So, but eventually I don't listen to them. I continue on with my research, and I exited my company, and I started my company, Jomex. So this okay. So to answer the question, is it circular economic really works? Not a solution. Yeah. So what we do is we recycling the rejected metal glove, and now we already have the patented technology. And from our experience by using rejected metal glove, we found that our product now even have more durabilities. Also, we can pushing up the manufacturings. I used to need to buy a lot of synthetic rubber because you mentioned you go to need dry synthetic rubber. All these synthetic rubber need to get it from overseas, like Japan, Korea, and so on. So I used to have the problem that I need facing is, for example, currency. Sometimes when you buy from overseas, you worry about currency, the supply change. Sometimes there's war and shipment. You don't have enough of raw materials. So by using waste locally available every month, I solve all my problems. Okay. So second thing, now, when I started the time, the idea was quite simple. Because usually for rubber industry, the waste we all have been using waste, maybe just about 10% to 30% waste, and we still need about 70% virgin material. So that time I was thinking myself, why don't we switch around, make it about 70% or 60% recycled material and 30% virgin material. So that's why a lot of people say crazy. It won't work because once you have more waste material, your property drops, or you have a lot of issues doing the manufacturing. So, but at that time I started just 60% waste material and 40% virgin. But today we are doing 90% waste, 10% virgin. So we have a huge cost saving. In fact, our competitor cannot believe how we achieve it. So they cannot even compete with us because we totally have a differentiation in markets. Even though it's a waste material, but we have a good performance and its recyclability. So also we align with the ESG goal. I wish the time 2017 ESG was there because the time I tried to tell my family business, sustainability is the future's business, but they tell me no way. But unfortunately, they are no longer in the business because they cannot comply even with the business. So yeah, they will. Okay, so low carbon footprint and no resources efficiency. So besides that, we also create job opportunities. Okay, and create evidence. I don't know how many of you here experience or use a green material or green products. Okay, so I hope give it a try. Because a lot of times I heard people when we mentioned about recycling, they always have a mentality is recycling in low quality. But that's not true. That's why this is the thing that we need to create the awareness. So this is the thing that won't go further. So this is our product. So from the glove, we turn it into footwear. So if you look on the right, eco sandals, that's the sandal we used to be glove. So from glove it becomes sandals. So we started this year. We are going to launch this formula brand. So we move forward because sustainability is of course always about moving forwards. And the eco school shoe is because like Thomas said, the student is our future generations. So I don't believe that ESG always started with the big corporates, but the younger generation, they need to have the mentality to start the ESG. So we were promoting the eco school shoes. Then we have this eco men's leather shoes, the one I'm wearing now. So we also have the MySDS implications. So we have this portal partnership under SDG. So we partner with our customer supplier. Then we come up with this eco safety shoes. We are Malaysia first CIM eco label certified CIM for the safety shoes. So also even our school shoes, we already apply CIM eco label. So we are waiting for the certifications. So yeah, I hope that that's all for my presentation.
This is an example of walking the talk. Now let's hear from Danish and from Renew Cell. Each time I met him in this role, I couldn't believe that he spoke about. So let's.
Okay, thanks, Thomas. Hi, good morning, everyone. I know many people when come to speak about battery, you will be thinking about AA, AAA, right? That's what everyone sees in their daily life. Let me introduce what Renew Cell does this, transforming battery security in Malaysia. Just let me give you all an overview. We started 2016, operational 2018, funded by Credit at the initial stage itself. As well, we have a few MySDI. So we have a MySDI for Part Mama. So what does Part Mama means is battery management and maintenance system. So how do we came up with this name is who take care of the child better than a father, right? So that's how it came. So we have MySDI for our battery security. Battery security name itself came from our MD or our founder itself. So my Hijau, Green Tech Procurement as well as ISO. Okay, so what we have in Renew Cell is our regeneration technology where we're able to extend the battery lifespan. As it gives about 70% of carbon emission avoidance as well as 60 to 70% of cost saving to the users or asset owners. Then during 2022, we have pivoted to battery monitoring system, which is known as Part Mama and Track. So because we believe that many of the industrial battery users do not have details on their battery assets, when they purchase, what's their warranty regarding, and what kind of chemistry the battery they are using. As well as this year onwards, we have developed a used battery marketplace, something like Muda, but it's 100% only for batteries. So where people can buy, rent, or sell their batteries, industrial batteries. So so far since 2018, we have regenerated about 12,000 units of batteries, starting from railways, material handling equipment, solar batteries, as well as golf buggy batteries. So on the right, you can see that kind of industrial battery we focus on, which is weight from 300 kilos up to 2 tons. So we have avoided for customer about 500 tons of metric tons of CO2. So okay, where we provide circular economy initiative is we encourage customers, users, or asset owners to reuse their battery. This kind of batteries are manufactured such a way to last for at least 10 to 15 years, but it's being discarded maybe 3 to 5 years due to their performance. So how do we able to encourage this? We give them a second life, or we regenerate or rejuvenate this kind of batteries from maybe a 50% up to 99.7%. As well on the right, you can see the battery was given to us at 25% of capacity. We're able to regenerate up to 74%, and it can be reused back for the next 2 to 3 years. Next, for that for lead acid, now going for nickel cadmium battery, which is designed or manufactured for 25 years of lifespan. But this battery same goes to Petronas or other big companies, they dispose it every 6 years. So on the left, it's this battery from Resonec, a graphite company, which their battery was given to us at 41%. We're able to regenerate or rejuvenate it back to 73%, and it's being redeployed into the same system.
So for MRT battery, this is a great use case for us. This battery was meant to be disposed, and but MRT didn't have an option to come to us because they was supposed to wait for at least a year for their new battery to be received. So they didn't have a choice. They were finding other alternative. What can they do? So they approached us to revive this kind of battery. Then we took it as a challenge, where this kind of battery with 1%, 5%, let us check how far can we extend its capacity. So somehow, God's grace, with our technology, we're able to extend the battery lifespan up to 83% from 1%. So, and it's being redeployed till date. I think it's almost 2 to 3 years already now. So they have saved easily 80% of their costs from purchasing new batteries. So recently this year we have moved to another segment of circular economy or repurposing batteries. So we have received lithium telco batteries which is being discarded. Then what we did, we decided let's us repurpose it to some other application instead of going back to the same application telco. So what we did from lithium telcos, we reassembly it, repurpose it, we did a many capacity tests of each individual cell, collect them together, then we have redeployed into golf buggies. So a waste battery from telcos became a new battery for a golf cart. So this is our ongoing project and being approved with TNBR on repurposing lithium, retired lithium energy storage system, repurposing it into using a nickel cadmium from TNB itself. So this kind of battery, nickel cadmium battery is discarded every 6 years in TNB also. So that discarded nickel cadmium batteries are being regenerated and is going to be repurposed into a retired lithium energy storage system. So there's two projects with TNBR itself. So our mission is to transform the battery supply chain, make it more sustainable, cost effective, and also support circular economy. So let's embrace circular economy and have a green earth. Thank you from my side.
So
Can I invite one of the speakers here? I think I want to say that in addition to this, probably don't be shy. It's a center of attraction. I would also say that in addition to these three cases, we have recorded in our website 2 other cases from Malaysia. One is cloth recycling, the other one is natural glass. Natural glass, the gentleman, Harry is here, and so we have many other examples, and we're working on a few others coming up. So we like to add up. Brother, I ask questions. I know there's a shortage of time. Is there any questions, anything that you want this gentleman?
Technology. How do you you regen them, but how do I know what's the sustainability process or clean process behind that? I mean, I don't need to know your patent and all that stuff. We already use electricity for recovering the regeneration process is only using electricity. I know many people have the perception, okay, if you regenerate battery, you tend to throw all the acid, remove the lead or anything. We do not do anything such. There's a positive negative terminal, we connect it to our machine, it runs for 3 to 5 days. That's all. The secret is the electrochemistry happens inside the battery. Why can't any other people use? What's your because there's few technology out there. So
see the question that you answered. We have online edge.
Okay, yeah, how our technology differs from others. Okay, ours is pulsation, which is low frequency, higher amps.
So we give up to 500 amps of current towards the batteries. Where other competitors or technology out there, they go for ripple charging, which is known for a normal charging method, but they extend it for 24 hours charging instead of 8 hours charging. So their effectiveness is maybe 30%, ours maybe 90%. So good.
Any other?
Have I answered the question? EV cars can't be regenerated, it can be repacked. Maybe I have multiple type of EV cars, assuming you only have one module which has been faulty. I can take from something and replace it. I regenerate, cannot be done because it's too sensitive.
Stephen, so you only focus on rejected gloves, right? Rubber, right?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm focusing on the rejected rectangular because nobody is doing that.
Okay. What's the percentage of this amount, this type of rubber being disposed of landfills? Please, from what create your excitement again, numbers. So for that, I mean, to understand how much of this raw material is required for you.
So if you imagine the rejected on factory is about 1%. Okay, so but monthly we added up maybe about 300 to 400 tons to the landfill. Okay, then we also got a lot of inquiry from overseas market, which is the used glove or the expired glove, which is what they sell into the market, the 99%. So and all these are not, they don't have the technology to recycle it. That's why we have the huge amount of the raw materials. So as I mentioned also, we are focusing on the rejected rectangular. So this technology we can also use for tires and other materials, but just that we now we're focusing that on this material first.
So if I understand correctly, so 100% of the rejected materials are being used by you to convert into your product, right? What about your what about the quality of the rejected materials? Are they all acceptable usually from in your industry?
Yeah, that's why the good thing about the rejected rectangular is the glove itself, they need to be high quality. But sometimes, of course, the rejected is due to the thorns, the issues for the manufacturing. But the quality itself is very good. Just that the method of recycling is very important. That's why a lot of the old technology they use reclaim, they burn up the rubber and destroy the rubber. But for us, we are using chemical and mechanical system. So that's why we have the more advantages and preserve the rubber quality.
Any other questions? Is there any online questions? There is, sir. What is the online question? Oh, sorry. Can you just push? Oh, sorry. Okay. I don't know who it is meant for, but it's Brother Sam. He says, with this technology, it means open up job opportunities for all, especially Malaysians. So, is what I said. So, how do you give this opportunity? Job creation, your technology. I think so. Okay. So, there are many ways, I always believe in, first of all, is partnerships. Partnership to create more awareness. For example, recently I partnered with one of the designer. So they use our waste because I'm doing footwear. I more specialized on footwear, and he see the opportunities. So he take our waste and he turn it into land. Okay, so with that land, he just came back from exhibition from Singapore and got a very good response, and he got very excited. So if this is one way we can create the job, or partnership. And second, of course, we are growing our business. We need more people. The right people have the mentality of green awareness to join us. And also, actually, I'm also looking for the future contractor, right? Because I will be expired one day. Yeah, we start again. Yes, there was an online question, and basically respect on what's the customer's perspective on the secondary material. So you have a secondary battery, you have a secondary rubber perceived to be. So has there been concerns from customers on its quality, or could you respond on that?
Okay, let me respond on that. Yes, people tend to have a concern on the safety, how reliable is it when it comes to regenerated batteries in our company, right? So what we do, the thing we try to resolve it, we place our battery monitoring system, where it's 24/7 online, so they can have a view on the battery's performance, so it creates a confidence on customers that okay, this battery at this particular time is still in function, or it's not going to be dead another few hours time. So we how do I say, combine it or integrate it with the battery monitoring system in order to give them the assurance, yes, the assurance that second life batteries or regenerated batteries can be used for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, it's always a challenge, to bring in new materials to the market because they have not known as well. So that's why there's a lot of marketing and branding awareness we need to do. So that's why recently when I start to come up with a brand formula, we move forward. I put a statement there to my team. I said to my team that formula is not for everyone, only for those who care about life and environment. So I create a clear statement first, so that because we cannot please everyone, and for them to understand. But what we do is we keep on moving forwards, and of course we keep on promoting, educate. That's why this year, especially for this year, I tend to, we are trying to work in Malaysia. They give us a small grant to give us the full shoot. Because I told them the student is the future generation that will, benefit from the sustainability.
Right, each part. Yeah. Any other burning? Maybe. It's not really burning, but it's the last question. Oh, my question. Okay. So I think based on what we discussed this morning, you as a business, right? Have you got a chance to look at MITI circular economy framework and the circular economy framework, and then reflect on the businesses that you like, the business you guys are in, right? What are the challenges that you face? Has it actually been addressed through the policy and the frameworks? And what are the things that you hope to see a lot more that you can actually play a very critical role? I mean, this is actually a matter of time when Malaysia can pivot or reposition ourselves. In fact, sometimes circular economy, they use that as a regenerative economy. Because the Malaysia has always been a very manufacturing oriented, like, and focus on low value manufacturing. But based on what you guys have shared, right, there's a potential to convert how Malaysia moves the high income country based on the technology they have and based on the product, or even based on the R&D itself. So it links back to you running a business yourself, challenges that you face. What are things that you guys hope to see, not through government, okay, the ecosystem? What do you like to see?
I don't know about Thomas or the niche facing. So I remember one of my biggest challenges, like just now someone asked about pioneer status. Okay, so we try to apply pioneer status and we pay the fees, 3,000 plus to MIDA for the application for pioneer status, and they just rejected us. The 3,000 money, 3,000 ringgit burn. And the reason why they rejected us because we started the business without applying the pioneer status. You need to apply pioneer status before you start the business. So my question is, I haven't started my business. I don't know whether it works. I need to apply for pioneer status. It doesn't make sense, right? So this is one of the challenges that we face. Even like we heard about GTC financing scheme 1.0. We started the 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. But what it help for the small entrepreneurs like us? Nothing. When we go to NTTC, they say that you go talk to the bank. Then the bank say, you are small, I can help you. The waste can wait. Let you grow the company first. So it's like sometimes a chicken and egg situation, right? Without the financing support, we cannot even grow the business. Yeah, I hope I answered the question.
We all said. So for us,
we are in this industry where I think almost 10 years. Before the pandemic, we already do a research on this bread butterfly. So my founder, he saw this maggot in the wastewater treatment. So he tried to look for the Google how to kill this maggot. So from the information that he found out is something that is unique on this larvae. So we met a lot of friends outside Malaysia. So we went to US conference, INSET conference at that time, back in 2018. So we went to EU and to China, all these guys, met a lot of friends. So we set up 2019, we set up our first Malaysia book of record, first factory in Lawan. We put about 3 million on money to set up this. And the first year running, we have a project with BKL, everything. We get this baby from Pasir Layan. When pandemic hit, when they closed down everything, then we run away. So from there, we because we have built a very strong connection with international partners. So from there, we get a lot of consultants. We part of the partner, I mean subcontractor for them. That's why we earn money, we earn knowledge, and we earn connection. Okay. After that, we only come back to Malaysia to set up Entoma again. Before that, it's not enough. So from there, we have traction. On there, we go to Cradle, go to Kazan National. This is how we get the fund for us to sustain this challenging that we don't accept this challenge, or we always find a way to eat. This is startup.
What's your okay? The biggest challenge we have, just because we are dealing with batteries. So batteries are classified as scheduled waste in the DOE, SW102 or 103. So we have, I think we have tug of war with DOE together with all the ministries for last 4 years, but still they are not approving us as a, how do I say, a remanufacturing company for remanufacturing batteries. Because as per their knowledge or their book of say, once a battery comes out from its application, it's considered waste. But as per Basel Convention, any waste which still contains the holding power to charge or discharge is still not classified as waste. But DOE's point of view, anything just come out from an application or just your battery removed from the car is still a waste. So they want, they do not want us to handle the waste, or they want us to register as a waste management company, which we refuse. Because any product from a waste management company, I think everyone will have the doubts. Will this work? Will this, how long does it last? This and that, right? So for that reason, we still have tug on war with DOE that we are not a waste management company, but we are providing a second life, or we are remanufacturing batteries, or we are what you call more on sustainability, circular economy approach towards battery. So these kind of issues we faces with the ministry.
Thank you. I will just round up now and say it's a fantastic example. They were highly motivated, want to do something. They have challenges. The biggest challenge is Jaya is here, basic government, but it is not just Malaysian government. It's also phenomena around here that the profit is not accepted in its own whole. They don't think so. We will have to change that mindset, that some intelligence that we should take risks with local entrepreneurship, local talents. And the other challenge is there are rules that people need, but so I think one of the problems, even when start with asking about, we didn't put the definition because it's hard to find things, so we should work on this. So that's a challenge. We should compliment them and congratulate them for overcoming the challenges, succeeding in spite of the challenges, and we should continue success. Thank you very much. I want to say that there are more examples in Malaysia. We are compiling it. So so the next section actually keep it aside because we find that. Okay. Thank you very much. And three entrepreneurs. In my earlier talk, I said what differentiates people who are in the circular economy. It's a sense of entrepreneurship. And it's on there. So I would like to, because we've been more since the morning talking about ACEBA, and we haven't really introduced it. So I want to, because we wanted to talk about the subject before we actually delve into what ACEBA's offer is or what ACEBA's approach is. So I want to talk a little bit about this ACEBA, ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance, in terms of mandate, modalities, and resources of what we have for Malaysia, and maybe also then open into an open discussion on how can we help you. Because we want to see the circular economy, we want not just 3 entrepreneurs, but 300, 3,000 more businesses to join. So our roots are clearly the ASEAN Circular Economy as Corporate Social Responsibility Network, which Thomas represented, which was working on responsible and inclusive business for years, and started then with Switch Asia on mobilizing business action on circular economy. That transition to ACEBA, which is registered here in KL, and it's basically taking this forward. And ACEBA is one of the initiators of the ASEAN Circular Economy Business Alliance, and officially also the kind of the framework of the organization that hosts ACEBA. But the ACEBA, sorry, ACEBA is a not-for-profit entity that works here and that has to have a home in KL. So then on the other hand, we heard the Switch Asia program that has been working, as United spoke about it, working on sustainable consumption and production, circular economy, I suppose, supported them. We moved there, so the different technical advisories which were happening on the circular economy, on the extended producer responsibility, and green public procurement. Let me see. Okay, so then it gets a little bit, we have to click on 3 more times, then you get it in one go. So we have this technical advisory where we basically did what I spoke about early on. We facilitated this course on what is the business case and the business agenda for circular economy. You heard me speak this morning about this framework for business on the circular economy in Southeast Asia, which is the 5 guiding principles which we've done. Our second task over the last 2 years was to draw lessons and for replicating and scaling up circular economy business experiences. That is the 83 business days and counting. So please join us in documenting more the business cases. And then we have the engagement with the business sector to then establish ACEBA. So next then is ACEBA was launched officially last July 2024 in Jakarta. And you see it as an initiative that's supported by the ASEAN Business Advisory Council in collaboration with ACEBA. And at the launch, we were supported by, you see the ambassador of the EU to ASEAN supporters, and also the ASEAN Secretariat, the Deputy Secretary General, DSG, Mr. Singh was also there, and also the ASEAN Coordinating Committee for MSMEs for small businesses was there. So we supported there, and that is very much there. So if you click a few more times, I think 2, yes, that's it. So basically we are an ASEAN-centric business-led initiative in support of regional circular economy transition. So I spoke earlier this morning about this ASEAN circular economy framework. So we like to fill in the component which is there, saying we need to engage business. And we work basically a little bit like a pledge initiative. We ask companies to pledge to basically the circular economy principles, guiding principles which we set, and then and then to lead by example in adoption of circular economy. And we'll come back to what the pledge is. And ACEBA then provides visibility and a voice for these participating companies. And that's also what we've been doing today and what we've been doing over the last 15 months since we were launched. Webinars, in-person events, documentation, participation in the policy forum. So we also represent the advisory group on the circular economy for ASEAN and so on. So ACEBA will then basically document and showcase good business practices, facilitate learning and experience sharing, which we just heard from three gentlemen, three entrepreneurs, very inspiring stories, and promote an operational tools and metrics that are appropriate to the region. Next, please. So we have basically three entities in this. So we have basically participants, which is companies which commit to the pledge to and report on the circular economy initiatives. And then we are trying to set up a system that ACEBA is a regional initiative, but we need to get a local footing basically in the countries. So we have we're trying to work with business membership organizations to act as a focal point and as a liaison with the business community. And then we have the regional hub, which is basically ARIVA working with Switch Asia as a knowledge platform, as the technical resource, so to speak. So that is a system, but as you understand, we are a new organization, so it's not yet all in place. Next slide. So I spoke about this pledge for circular economy by the participants. So basically what we ask from companies is four simple things. One is to be vocal on circular economy. So if you're dealing with your customers, with your stakeholders, speak about circular economy, don't be silent. We need to work with circular economy transition. That is in your communication, advocacy, speak out a little bit about circular economy. Second point is where your rubber hits the road. That's the shoes, isn't it? So walk the talk. So take a proactive step to implement circular solutions in your product, services, and operations. So it's essentially saying you don't need to switch from today linear to tomorrow to circular, but start circularizing. So when you next do new purchase of equipment, look for the energy efficient one or the material efficient one. Or you redesign a product and we design it for a longer timeline. So we see that these smaller actions are leading to this. So that's what we want to see, that you will commit to circular economy, take some steps towards that. Third point is that maybe communicate and also on your activities. So don't do it in isolation, but speak out and participate in the events of the ACEBA. So that's where it is. Next slide. So click a few more times. Sorry. Two more, I think. So we have then the regional hub, which is ARIVA, and we have the three co-conveners, Thomas, myself, and Jill, who is unfortunately unable to join us, and then we have the coordination group. I said we have this country leads for Indonesia. It's already lined up, which is Chamber of Commerce in Jakarta, and in the Philippines, it's the Cebu Chamber of Commerce, and we are looking for also an anchor for Malaysia. We just discussing anchors for Thailand and Laos as well. So this is work in progress. So the next slide then, please. So we have identified kind of priority sectors around ASEAN, but it's not necessarily also the same for Malaysia. We are trying to focus our knowledge sharing a bit on these 8 sectors, but I think that these 4 or 5 are also relevant to Malaysia. So food and beverage, textiles and garments, leather, footwear, furniture, and homewares, automotive, electric and electronics, tourism and construction. So if you ask me on what we have covered with the 80 business states and maybe electric and electronics, we don't have much examples yet, and also leather, footwear and all, but the others are pretty much some examples there. Next slide, please. So our current lineup is basically, that's it. We have these companies lined up as participants. We have this partnership with ARIVA and ASEAN Business Council, and then we have the 2 country leads, and we have the technical advisory with Switch Asia. Next slide, please. You can also click 3, 4 times more. So we are basically working on 3 prongs. So we are looking at expanding and promoting the Circular Economy Business Alliance with the Learning by Sharing Network and events and so on. And then we are doing experience creation and knowledge creation, basically with business case and guidelines, and we are doing advocacy and partnership. So we started initially in Indonesia, Philippines, and we are expanding to Laos, Malaysia, Thailand is also joined us recently. Detailed program this ASEAN Business Advisory Council supported by EU Switch Asia. So if we give you some updates, next slide, please. So we had a launch last year, national workshops, Philippines, Indonesia, today Malaysia, a number of regional webinars, national co-hosted webinars, contributions to regional events and national events. Mongolia with Global Compact, in Thailand and Brunei, and other things which have happened and it's all available on the website. Next slide, please. So in terms of experience creation, we have then this framework document, event document, which we have updated just last week. So there's the new version, the business cases, and there's also a paper with an interview, introduction, and overview. So that's all available on the website. Next slide, please. And then we are, yes, you can click this. We are just, it's being designed right now. We're having done a guidance to advanced circular business. So where we basically say every business is different on how to get started with circular economy. So we want to get away from this fact that we have the steps A, B, C, D to follow in a certain way. So we came up with this science framework to say four types of activities business can undertake to advance circular economy. So take stock, what I say, the circularity opportunities and risks, and set an ambition. So where could you fit as a company, and then set delivery pathways for a portfolio of circularity projects, and then do integration of how do you align and integrate this into your corporate strategy. So this is upcoming, and of course, one more. Next slide. That is then basically what our structure is of what we say. Circular economy is the sustainable extraction, use, and life management of materials and other natural resources, and that is for companies to do well in terms of lower cost, new revenue opportunities, and business resilience, what I spoke about, but then also doing good for the planet by reducing waste, reducing emissions, conserve natural resources, regenerating nature, and do also good for society. So I think livelihoods and jobs we spoke about in the questions, the health and well-being, so avoid hazardous materials entering in the value chain, conserve skills, heritage, and culture. We've also seen the rejuvenation of agricultural practices of extracting silk from lotus stems and so on. So there's new opportunities arising from old skills. So this should be available very soon. One more time. So get involved. You can join the alliance. So that would be basically also committing them to these guiding principles. Contribute business case. I know Thomas is already working with us. Maybe Steve, you can motivate you as well to showcase you around, tell you how you were thrown out of the family, but you came into another family, isn't it? And maybe some of the other businesses around here that would be interested, let us know. You can just also join the mailing list and be informed when we have a next set of events or webinars. It's easy. We normally do 1.5, 2 hours to showcase some examples. Next one is basically, thank you. We put also the flyer out, which is the circular economy for Malaysian business, is our co-conveners. So I think that wraps up from my side. I think we wanted to open the floor on some of the other initiatives. And I would like to maybe invite Crystal from the UN Global Compact to maybe speak a little bit about what UN Global Compact is doing. And then I will also ask, can I put some chairs also for Thomas? Maybe Thomas also to speak on the role of ACEBA and responsible business. But Crystal represents the UN Global Compact Network for Malaysia and Brunei, isn't it? Right. So very pleased to have you here. So may I first ask you some feedback on what Global Compact is doing on circular economy, what you see as the challenges for business.
Good morning, everyone. Still start afternoon.
Yes.
So at UN Global Compact, of course, we don't only focus on circular economy, right? Unlike the veterans here in the room, all your SCPs are focused on circular economy. At UN Global Compact, we're slightly different. We focus on the private sectors in terms of their overall or the broader ESG journey investment as well. And in terms of, programmatic initiatives and also through capacity building as well. In areas like, water efficiency, resource, waste reduction and all that, and also in supply chain engagement. So speaking of supply chain engagement, we do have a lot of focus on this in this area, in the sense where we do have this ESG Star Maturity Assessment tool that the suppliers or the SMEs can actually use it to assess their own industry maturity level. And also from that assessment, they do produce a report. And what's so powerful about this report that you have, and it may actually answer some of your questions earlier on financing, on funding, right? Some of you have actually brought that up. It actually helps you, bring the report to the financial institution and gain access to financial incentives or preferential rates investment. So these are just some of the things that we do in Malaysia and Brunei. Of course, in our counterparts like our sister network in Thailand, they do have a very strong circular economy initiative. It's called the Circle Hub Thailand. Perhaps you can just Google it up. It's basically a capacity building that actually helps the leaders design have circular design. And another initiative in Thailand is also called Buyer Circular Green Model. So this model is actually a national treasure to them because it's actually embedded into their national strategy, where circular economy is the heart of their strategy in a sense. So these are just some of the things that we have done in Malaysia, Brunei, also in Thailand. But of course, in other counterparts like South Africa, there are also a lot of other things or initiatives that we have. So perhaps over lunch, you can always find me and come in next time.
Yes, thank you, Crystal. I should have started with congratulating you because the Global Compact, I think this week turns 25 years of existence of Global Compact as a private sector network, and driven very much by the principle, the 10 principle, and very much aligned to circularity, environment, labor, corruption. So you mentioned that maybe there's not yet much activity on circular economy in the network here in Malaysia, but do you, what's the sentiment of the companies? Do you feel there's interest, or what is put off as barriers, or can you reflect a bit on that?
Yeah, well, in Malaysia and Brunei, basically, a lot of them are definitely looking into circular because it's part of sustainability journey in sense as well. So I would say that most of the challenges is really comes down to the mindset, the human mindset. In a sense, I think some of you have actually pointed out, like Stephen, the intergenerational gap in that sense. A lot of companies, large or even small companies in a sense, they do place importance on sustainability, but it's mostly on the compliance aspect, right? A lot of companies, they do it because IFRS S2, it is a mandatory thing by Bursa, right? But this mindset has to change in a sense where it's not on a compliance basis, but it should be done from the heart because at the end of the day, sustainability is all about people. So when we know that what's the purpose of us doing this in the first place, it is something that has to be done in the long run just for future generations as well. Especially for the younger generations, like myself, we do take sustainability as a very important topic. And companies, especially the executive level, they're really pushing for it. But there is a challenge in the sense where if the top-bottom approach isn't happening, the bottom-top approach wouldn't happen as well. So there has to be a push from the leader perspective. And in order for that to do so, the mindset has to change.
Maybe I can also ask you what would be your advice for ACEBA? So ACEBA works on guiding principles, which is similar to Global Compact, also commitment to principles. What do you think would be most useful for Malaysia this juncture in time to advance circular economy?
I would say two things. One is the digital and innovation aspect, because that's a really part of what I do in day-to-day basis. Because without having the data in hand, you're not able to convince the management or your higher-ups or your leaders in why this is important for the company per se. So having a data to actually measure that, it actually gives you credibility there as well. And the second thing is, of course, money. We need funding to do anything that we want to do or aspire to do. And in order for that to happen, there needs to be a collaboration, right? Public-private collaboration between the government or between everything else, the community, for example. There has to be that collaboration because collaboration is key to it. And of course, without the collaboration, everything will not work out at the end of the day because we need to all work together to have that initiatives or programs that is done in place as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I think what you emphasis on data is very much also what I presented in the 4 steps. So it's a stock take, which is basically data, find out the baseline, what's your cost, your risks, opportunities, but be aware where you can go. In terms of money, we could already discuss it a bit earlier on. Make also sure where we should spend this money. So we need to look the right opportunities for companies that's really there. So Thomas, may I just turn to you? You represented ACEBA, which is really about responsible and inclusive business. So how do you see the landscape evolving in Southeast Asia on responsible business conduct and how circular economy can provide an opportunity to raise the bigger agenda of inclusive and responsible business? I will agree on one part of the mindset is very clear. I think what we have many of our business, everything needs a business case. I think there's a constraint. Business case is important because companies exist to it needs profits to continue. But business case by itself is not the solution because one of the big problems in ASEAN we have and around the world is the mindless pursuit of profit. Growth at all costs, profits at all costs. So just cut down all the trees, pay people as little as possible, exploit in order for profit maximization. So the business case itself has been also the problem for many of the, is the cause of many of the problems we have. So I think today we need to talk about business case plus a moral case. The moral case is doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. We need to talk about ethics and values as well. So I think when we developed the ISO 26000, we talked about principles of accountability, ethical behavior, respect for stakeholder interests, respect for the rule of law, respect for law, corruption, and also subjectivity. So I think when we developed the ACEBA, we worked on 2018 when ASEAN Group became one of the responsible inclusive business champion of ASEAN Business Advisory Council. We talked to them and we developed the code. It was quite interesting because we managed to convince 10 ASEAN countries what should be responsible business. And we developed about 7 principles of accountability, ethical behavior, transparency, respect for stakeholder interests, respect for rule of law, respect for international norms of behavior. And in most of those things, there's a word principle called respect for human rights. But the ASEAN countries say cannot. Some of them say that's a haram. We talk about that. So we changed the words to say treat people with respect, dignity, and fairness. I think that's the essence of it. So I want to say that in order to push this whole thing forward, we also need support, institutional support. And as such, there also the funding for many of the social activities comes from the West and others. And they have their own agenda. And I ask you today is that maybe we should also talk about an ASEAN-centric agenda, because we talk about ASEAN, and the ASEAN's new things is resilience, sustainability, inclusiveness. That's the ASEAN plan for 2045. And the resilience has to be ASEAN-centric. And maybe we should, yesterday I was listening to a talk by Minister Liu Chin Tong from MITI. And I think we made things that one of the important lessons we learned from Trump 2.0 is the importance of having alternatives and building up our own alternatives to the US as the big market. So to have a prosperous ASEAN, we also have to have a very decent thing is create demand in ASEAN. One of the easiest way to create demand is to pay people a decent wage, even living wage, so that less poor people and create demand. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, that's good. So you both referred a bit to business case, and I think that business case relates to what do you refer to? I mean, you refer normally to business as usual, and then I would say, well, climate doesn't obey by business as usual anymore. It has really changed. Markets have changed, so we should maybe also look at what we traditionally see as a business case, or what is it more expanded. So we are in a changing world that's disrupted from 2.0, but also climate and other events that are taking place. I want to, you want to comment, Thomas?
I just want to just add one point.
Yes.
I think business as usual means the world as usual.
Yes.
The world as usual is not going to stay. So business as usual is not an option.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's business as usual is business of the past in that sense. So maybe I can also open up the floor. Are there any further comments, suggestions for ACEBA or related to circular economy and business in Malaysia? Any thoughts which you would like to share? Yes.
Thank you. As I mentioned just now that we have been consulting and we have been providing solutions since 2019 on the circular economy for quite a number of companies and industries. So I think when ACEBA and so on coming into Malaysia and so on, the lacking here is on the SMEs and its supply chain. Of course, the change of mindset is there, and some of the industries or brand owners is like it's something like greenwashing at times, and they always stop halfway through. All right, so we need to connect the dots so that it is fully linked. Like currently, when we are talking about circular economy, is always touch on recycling alone. So we also now developing the standards, the industry standards for it. It has already been drafted. And the most important part when it comes to the policies and everything, like how the businesses have discussed just now, that there's no interconnectivity and lack of enforcement at the same time. Right, so that is quite crucial because that needs to be settled on the upstream in terms of the policy and so forth. And on the downstream, that the businesses are willing to move ahead. But of course, there are hindrances and hurdles when they need to connect themselves with the existing policies and so on. But having said that, some of the businesses, like for example, PVC medicine bags, used to be hazardous waste under schedule waste. We managed to show the solution for it and move ahead. Now the collection is being done and moving into circularity, full circularity with the EPR and so on. So similarly, I think these kind of interconnections will be helpful for companies to move ahead and so on. And the most important part is the business case, of course, needs to also come with profit. Because as a business, not at all businesses are non-profit, right? So they need to look at that as well. What are the the advantages and so on. And the most important part also this, like for an example, these are some of the case studies that we have gone through. Like for example, Geomax, they have done this, and they would like to expand. But the existing ecosystem is not ready to give him the supply. So therefore, he will have no choice, need to import. And even the ecosystem is enough. But as a business, they want to grow. So they need to, bring in the supply and so on somehow or other. And like how they mentioned that other countries may ask for the similar kind of solutions and so on. So is the policy ready to support that? So we want the local companies to also grow at the same time. So these are the on the ground issues that we have faced.
I think that's true. That I mean, we saw on the ground the three examples are MSMEs by any stretch of the imagination. So it also works for small business, and they are doing it from a business perspective. So it's not just charity to do this, it's also doing well while doing good. So I think that's something that we need to emphasize. But I'm not waving away the concerns, but I'm just saying that we can just be focused on the hurdles, or we can focus on the opportunities and say that even with the existing hurdles, we can get businesses to get started. And at the same time, we need to work on the policy environment, on the policy changes, on the coordination, recognition, and there's ASEAN initiatives which are working on standardization, secondary materials, and related issues. So we need to see this as not an either or, but an and. So there's an agenda for governments to transform and create a conducive policy environment so that some of the hurdles are being addressed effectively so business can grow. But on the other hand, if just the hurdles are removed, nothing will happen unless business steps in. So we need to get business ready to take the advantage, take the opportunities. And I think that's the kind of dual approach that we are aiming for. What you want to add, or Crystal? No, ladies first.
So sorry. So just to add on your point on SMEs and also MSMEs, right? Yes, some of you may feel left out, but there are also companies that are also driving the supply chain very prominently. For example, like Petronas and also Petronas. So Petronas has actually launched with end of last year their Petronas Supplier Support Program, where about 4,000 plus of their suppliers are on board in the supply chain program, where there's a full ecosystem for them. So there are Petronas is more of the oil and gas sector, I think that's correct. But in terms of, for example, Prasarana, which is mobility, that's really an SME, and to the point where it's MSME as well. So there is these kind of companies that are doing things for the SMEs and MSMEs, but of course, it's only one or two companies that do this. So how do we actually scale that forward? It's really to get the businesses on board with this. So there are solutions out there. It's just whether the large corporates are actually willing to take that into place and help their own. So for example, with Prasarana, besides giving them, providing them with some of the, assessments, their capacity building and all that, it's also very inclusive in the sense where, because some of these MSMEs, there's also a language barrier and the knowledge limitation, and when it comes to sustainability or even circular economy. So these are just some of the things that are already in place that perhaps these SMEs or MSMEs can. But other than that, the whole ecosystem also comes down to the financing part, where yes, Petronas SMEs are not SMEs for some of them, but they also do need the financing support, and that's where the banks or the financial institutions have actually come in to help. Like for example, your alliance have actually helped some of their Petronas suppliers to access funding through their ESG performances. So these are just some of the things.
I just say, number one, I think we have to recognize there is progress. I started this journey on sustainability, responsible CSR around 2000. So after some time, I was sent to the consumer group. So we did a task force report and some with the government, and the union chief says, this is a good idea, but I think it didn't work with them. So there was a tripartite committee. I co-chaired the tripartite committee for Antarctica Singapore, and we made this recommendation: should push this, would be a big thing and all. There's no bite. So I remember in 2008 Sunday, I had a meeting with the Ministry of Trade and Industry, FirmSec, very nice. He just said two questions after listening to me very politely. Does it grow the GDP? Does it create jobs? He said, not interested in all this because it doesn't create the jobs, doesn't grow the GDP. I said, good GDP, good. No. But today we look, and then what he, because he pays the data, So he agreed to fund a study of the state. I remember 60% of the companies who were surveyed, no government do survey 100% report. Huh? If you don't tell the truth or you don't reply, you is $5,000 fine 6 months here. So you get 100% response rate. Fair, very well done. 60% said they never heard the word social responsibility. Out of the 40% who said they would, 2/3 said, yeah, I heard about it, but I'm doing nothing. The other 1/3 said, oh, I do welfare, I do voluntary, I donate to charity, philanthropy. That is some years. Today, you look at it after things, almost every company has got a sustainability report. Okay, 2011, when I was there, we did a study on disclosure on sustainability. And out of the 300 or something listed companies in the stock exchange, only for 60 had some report, which includes a company with $1 billion Singapore dollar turnover, had a 2-page report of how they donate $100,000 or $50,000 to a charity. So I'm saying it's so much of wayang. Yes, there is it. Is that true improvement? Yes and no. There is. We also have the same problem with people who are really trying to do with good results, and there's also greenwashing and blue washing. So when we will combat greenwashing, whitewashing, all kind of washing. But one point is, we are quite fortunate. We don't have very aggressive civil society. I did the first sustainability reporting analysis for ASEAN with the National University of Singapore. The disclosures of some of them is very questionable. Even when we did this, we did small studies on companies doing sustainability. Some of the sums doesn't add up. So we wayang a lot, but that's part of our tradition. We have very good dramas, and that's embedded in our values. So how do we get reality out? But I think the question is not criticizing them, challenging, but trying to use positively to encourage movement out. And I think you do good work. We have to continue to do. We have to persist and persist. And then the second point is, in many of these things in life, people listen to companies talking about, oh, I got sustainability by going from A to B to C to D, and therefore I will see my Nervina, I've gone to. In real life, it's never true. You actually start in C, then you go to D, then you drop down to A, then you go up and down, and finally overall is achieved. So I think we also have to realize that we must accept there are successes and failures. And failures is not a failure. Failure is learning. Some people fail lessons. You know, at my age, I lost a lot of money learning lessons. And we have to do. So I suppose this gathering here, what we're doing is quote good example. To create a norm in society. There are a lot of things that are norms. Behavior, norms. I come from Singapore. In the eve of public holiday, you always get a half day off. But there's no law saying that you must get half day off. Okay? But it's a norm of recognition that is concerned. And so there are certain things that becomes norm, and let's create sustainability as a norm. I have seen a tremendous change, and the whole government's. Yes, there's part of it is wayang, but we need a little bit of drama, wayang. Accept it that eventually becomes. So that's my whole.
Wayang is being ASEAN centric, isn't it?
Yeah, they're very clear it's ASEAN centric. I think a lot of things now we have, your problem us, is that we need very strong institutions. In Malaysia, you look at things, a lot of government says, you only change the political party, things get moving because they are relatively strong institutions. They are effective things. So even at ASEAN level, we need to build those institutions. Institutions means it goes on. Look at some of our neighboring countries. Political change, this change, but things still start moving because they have built institutions. And I think for sustainability, and my hope is ACEBA and all, will be those institutions that we come. And I think what we need is leaders to say, hey, I need good institutions to push this agenda. So I hope we can all work together to build that institutions, create that norms, and achieve
what we need to achieve. Thank you, Thomas. I think it was a long answer to basically saying there is some progress. It's not fast enough, and we need to accelerate progress, and that's very much the task of ACEBA. So maybe in the interest of time, we wrap up here. Thank you, Thomas, Crystal, for your feedback and Frank. I think we, before and after the switch team remote in cyberspace from to maybe make some comments. I want to do on behalf of ACEBA, Thomas and myself, thank you very much for your participation. I think it was very interesting to hear from you, to share experiences, to do knowledge sharing. I think the spirit of the last conversation is one of there's progress, too slow, but we should not give up. We should try to unite in our intention, in our ambition to try to scale this up and make this more of a mainstream idea that we need to think about circularity, the sustainable use of materials, and recovery to efficiency, circularity, renewables, solutions, and that means different types of solutions for different enterprises. We need to build capabilities for that. So ACEBA is there for this year in Malaysia. So I repeat the 4 points that we had on my last slide. So consider, join us. If you have a business case, well, we would be happy to work with you to try to document that, so we can also share your story to international organizations. Join our mailing list. Please join us. If comments, suggestions, most welcome. So with that, Lorraine, can I ask you to make some final observations from the switch team?
Thank you, Renee. I hope everyone can hear me in the room.
Hear you and see you.
Okay, that's good. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of ACEBA as well as Switch Asia, we thank everyone for making today's workshop Circular Economy, a Responsible Business and Innovation Opportunity for Malaysian Businesses a success. So our gratitude goes to our speakers and partners, to Thomas and Renee, of course, for our co-conveners for ACEBA, for leading this session and also for highlighting the business opportunities and circularity through ACEBA, and also moderating our sessions. And of course, to Dr. Zinaida for your introduction to the EU Switch Asia policy support component that is continually supporting ACEBA implementation in the region. To Dr. Jayaprakash and Ms. Adriana for presenting Malaysia's circular economy policy framework. And a special thanks to our business champions, to Thomas from Entomal, Stephen from Geomax, and Dinesh from RenewCell for joining us and supporting ACEBA, and for sharing your inspiring business experience on circular economy and how it is applied to your businesses. We also thank Crystal. Thank you for taking your time joining us, and Thomas for your inspiring words on how we can accelerate support to businesses in their transition to circular economy. And to all participants from the business leaders, government, academia, and civil society who has joined us today, thank you for your active engagement. And to our online participants who are still with us all throughout the workshop. So as we close, there are 3 takeaways that stand out from our discussion all throughout the workshop. First is to leverage Malaysia's circular economy policies to drive business action. So there are a lot of potential there to support businesses on the implementation of these policies. The second is on the focus on high impact, scalable, circular practices. So it is important to share business practices, and ACEBA business cases. It's one of the main priorities of ACEBA to highlight and showcase what is being done on the transition to circular economy through business practice. And third is the opportunity to engage with ACEBA to share solutions and unlock opportunities through circular economy. So hopefully this is not at the end of our conversation. We will continue our conversation after this event. We will be in touch as well as we send the PowerPoint presentations and also an event report. And please join us in ACEBA. So once again, thank you all for your contributions. Terima kasih. And we look forward to our continuing collaboration through ACEBA. Thank you once again and enjoy your lunch.
Lorraine, from outside as well, so thank you very much. I think nothing more to say, except invite you for lunch, which will be served here at the same floor at the other side of the elevators in the restaurant. Please join us for a little bit more of chit-chat, networking, and let's stay engaged. Let's go together. Let's enjoy a meal and continue this conversation, this journey to a circular business. Thank you very much.